Your commentators, Ken Sheldon, and to take up the call, David Wildy.
Thank you, David. Should be a tremendous game too. It's going to be Damien Arnold up against Big Jakes. Rain not far away. The umpire throws the ball up. And Arnold got the tap down too. And he goes as far as Paul Northeast, who had a super game last week. 31 possessions in his return game. After the footy on this occasion is Hopwood. Heath Hopwood to the far side. Northeast again. I like the way he plays his footy. Kenny goes in so hard. It's typical Port player.
Well, in the interview prior to the game, where it's just hard at the man, hard at the ball, these conditions are what it's all about. He's played the percentage there, realised there wasn't a lot ahead of him, so he just used the safety of the boundary.
It's going to be a tough grind. Don't worry about that as we see Jakes again. Down towards Chambers, had an area off the ground there. Couldn't do much. They stack on top of the footy. Finally, it's Brown gets a kick away to Morgan. Morgan edges the ball about 10 metres forward. And it's on the true outer side centre wing here at the Elizabeth Oval.
We forgot to mention Scotty Lee's birthday, fellas, yesterday. We missed it. 34 yesterday, Scotty. Happy birthday.
He's forgot a few years.
Now, I'll tell you an interesting one too while I was having a quick look at that. Jason Ray, who's not playing today, turned 20.
21 yesterday, I think, wasn't it?
No, 20 I've got him at. 21, you're right, I'm sorry. I can't do my maths. So Scotty Lee was 35. I'm out with my dates, you know. Scotty Lee's 35.
You're only a year out.
How am I going? That's the maths problem. I knew I shouldn't have played true at those days.
Perhaps you should have brought that up.
Yeah, well, there we go. But 21 for Jason Ray, 35 for Scotty Lee. We'll get it right eventually. And there's the man who played his 200th game last week at Football Park against Glenelg. Oh, not a bad way to open up your 201st, is it? Schwerty comes off defence and kicks a ripper goal with the breeze.
And terrific play off the ball by Conway. Shepherded out. Pedler didn't allow him to get the fist to ball in the last line of defence, so that ball bounced through. Swert coming off half back there, really set up. They structured up well. They brought the handball out defensively through McAdam, as you can see there on screen, and Swert on his natural left foot from a long way out. Just look at that from Conway. Didn't allow Pedler anywhere near the drop of that football, and it skidded through in these conditions.
Good work there by the big ruckman in Damien Arnold. Two on his day, can do anything. He's played 95 games. Up they go again, back in the centre. Central's got away to a perfect start. Simon Laws up towards centre half forward, getting his head almost knocked off the shoulders as Obst. He's been a fine player. 149 games for Melbourne. Very cool customer. Goes out wide to the runner, David Brown. If the ball sits, meeting him is Hopwood. Brown a chance now. McAdam lurking. Port have the numbers on that occasion. Comes back towards Brown. He's tackled. I tell you what, the tackling's fierce at the moment. Ball lays the skipper, edges it forward, and Castley in the way. The young man that did so well on Brody Atkinson a few weeks ago takes the mark at half back.
Jared Bolton tried to clean him up, but unsuccessfully so. Castley has a low centre of gravity. That's a great mark to Obst. He's in the match early. A free kick and a mark in the first 3 minutes or so of this match. And he looks a picture, doesn't he?
Great fit, so fit.
Well, he's always been a fitness fanatic. Borlays, what a great skipper he's been this year, replacing Tim Ginniver, who really, Port Adelaide have had a great tradition of leaders, haven't they? Wide, Danny Jarks, the target in front of Arnold. The big fellow got his chance a few weeks ago, and he's made the most of it too, and has forced Chalmers to the interchange bench today, so that's a great compliment to him and Ambrose towards full forward. But the kick is wayward. Schwert cuts it off deep in defence. He's just on the defensive line, brings it into 35-year-old Scotty Lee. 35. We'll just get that right, won't we? And towards Steinburner. Flicks it up. Well, it was just a nothing handball. Fortunately, Wakeland's there. They're backing up beautifully. Great smother, Matthew Ashley. McGuinness couldn't come through. Wakeland cleverly out to Scotty Lee. It ricochets out to Swatala. Here's an excitement play. There's an FAD downfield. Ashley was just disappointing. Danny Holm, and the umpire was right on the spot. You just can't get away with those, again, with three umpires.
No, good decision, and McAdam realised straight away that that was his ball.
Up towards Platt now. Obstin again, his third constructive possession. They dive in. Look at Northeast get on top of Platt there. Along here, you can see of Platt as he gets up. He'll be pleased just to be playing again. And not a bad crowd too, given the conditions.
Love to put a dollar value on the horseflesh out there today, Ken.
Yeah, it's worth the bob, isn't it? There's a few great players, had great careers out here.
Bearing in mind, Port kicking into a very, very strong breeze. A chance now on that occasion for Holm. Last year's best and fairest winner. Hands off to Hopwood. Not a bad kick by the youngster. Central's on fire early. That's their second. And Port going into a strong breeze yet to score.
Yes, and that goal simply the result of the undisciplined play by Matthew Ashley, giving the free kick downfield. He was the culprit at half-back for Port Adelaide. McAdam received the free, quickly put it out to Platten, and wasn't it great to see Platten really contest that ball? He held it up, made sure that it became a 50-50 contest again. The ball up took place, and the Bulldogs were able to then again, bring it cleanly, released it out to the free player who finished with a great goal from a good distance.
Heath Hop with the 20-year-old gets his first goal in league football. I think the ABC shop might have a sale on its hands Monday morning, $34.95 Heath, if you're having a look at this one. And Scotty Lee goes in hard. Heath Hopwood fishes it out beautifully to Schwert, who forces it wide to McAdam. Plenty of space on the wings, and McAdam using every centimetre. Over the top it goes to Casserly. Carter tried to clean him up, but he really is a tough nut, this little fella. Low centre of gravity. Nobody seems to clean him up. A high ball towards centre-half forward. Conway did well to force the ball down. Now it's Boulay, a hurried one. Ashley needs to work hard, does so. Connor fumbled it. Had his chances, Connor, but Ashley recovers quickly, forces it wide. Steinberner lost it in the sun, but did very well just to force it to the line.
Terrific matchup that Nathan Steinberner on last week's 6-goal performer in Phil McGuinness.
5.5 minutes gone. First quarter. Central's out of the blocks early. They lead by 12 points. Second place, third on the premiership table here. Should be a beauty too. It's on ABC. Live and exclusive as we see Lee back to Hop, but he's been prominent early. Up towards centre-half forward. Could have been a free kick there to Lewis. The umpire said play on Chambers with a wild kick. He's been pinged. Chambers by Chambers. I think it's umpire Kevin Chambers. So we see Brian Lees. Oh, here's a big turnover. Swooping there was McAdam, the 1989 McGarry medalist, up towards full forward. And was tucked there right in the last line, offline anyhow. And it's the first point of the day. Central's 2-1-13. The Magpies yet to score.
It was very poor by Chambers. He never got his body in line with the footy. You must do that. And then it was equally poor by Leeds with his change of play. Very poor.
Binky from full back for Port Adelaide. Schwert underneath this one, destroys and forces it down. Polton gathers the crumb and just forces it to space. Now who's there? Filippo. He'll make a contest of this. It's 4-on-1 when he gets there, and did pretty well.
Yes, had no other intention but to use the boundary, realised that they were outnumbered perhaps a little bit, the Magpies, and then just camouflaged that very well.
We're looking forward to that battle. Ken Reimers on Filippo.
Yeah, Filippo's a tremendous worker, so it will really test the physical fitness of Reimers.
Well, perhaps we'll find out in the final quarter how he's travelling. Cotter flicks it forward, looking for Scotty Lee. Hahn in front position. Did well to outbustle Scotty Lee. Not many players do that. Polton cleverly to Carter. The kick was smothered beautifully by Cotter. It ricochets to Hull. Hahn upended him. Well, I don't know about that, but play on. Let the advantage flow. Oh! He's brought it back.
Yes, it's doubt. Well, look, he's given us a high tackle, so that's where it's got to take place, where the contest or where the infringement did happen. But, gee, it really did hold up. The Bulldogs are in full flight, heading in there inside their 50.
Jeff Brown, the man right on the job, as Hull forces it towards centre-half forward. 3-on-1. Well, Hicks just nudged out, and the umpire was right on the spot. They're not missing much, are they?
No, and just back to that physical fitness talk that we talked about, David, with the likes of Remus, perhaps with the likes of Platt and a few others, I think the Bulldogs really will have to get off to a good start. It's just, which they have, and it just sets itself up even more for just such a great game.
I do like,
playing third.
Ken, I do like their versatility, though. You can switch Wakeland, Hicks, Reimers all around.
Chalmers, Sentry, Darren Smith on the Port Adelaide interchange bench.
Centrals now go forward again with a strong breeze. Conway out of position, Northeast. Gee, reads the ball so well, Paul Northeast. He's got the number 2 Crewy there. He looks mean. He's tough. No doubt about that.
Like
197 games.
Number 1.
Number 1, is it?
I reckon.
I don't know. I reckon it might be a 2, but we'll debate that. There's Northeast to the far side. Big Jake's up in front, but he couldn't take the mark. It's a Port Adelaide mark, I thought. Binky there. Brian Binky.
He's been pretty important since coming back from North Melbourne, hasn't he?
He missed a couple of games through suspension, but his form in the early part was outstanding. I think Port won their first 4 games of the year, then had that bad patch where they lost their next 3. Transfers are back towards centre wing. Up they go again. It's sport from behind. We're going to see a lot of the ball, Ken, on that far side. The way the play is, we'll see most of the play on the outer side.
Yeah, the wind does take the football that way. And both sides very disciplined. Like in defence, they spoil well, either to the front or to the boundary.
Borlay's a quick kick out again. Finds Julian Waite on the left boot. Moved pretty well too, up to half forward. Players caught out there. An opportunity now for Steinberg. He's got super pace, goes towards the boundary line. It's 2-1-13 Centrals. Port yet to score.
I reckon that's a beautiful call there, David. He really has super pace. When you can see him put a metre in McGuinness and the ball, like McGuinness is a quick player. And Steinberg, he's just burned him off twice already.
Well, Peter Jonas said that he's looking for that sort of explosive pace from Steinberner. Had his hands full with Katsaris just a couple of weeks ago. Polton forces it to ground. Steinberner, I'm a great fan of this kid. He has an explosive turn of pace, and when he uses it, he looks terrific.
McAdam, my man.
Yep, you like him, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
This one's not too bad either, Scotty Lee. I'd like to put him in a truck. You get 600,000 kilometres out of him. And a loose ball, Chambers. Oh, what great commitment, two players, Julian Waite and Chambers. Platten mops up the loose crumbs, had it stolen away by Morgan, who just had a fumble, and Chambers couldn't quite control it either.
It is difficult conditions here. It has been raining on and off. As David said earlier, we've had the four conditions here in the one day already. It's very windy.
Central's 2-1-13. It's a real doer struggle out there. David Brown just edges it forward, the other side centre wing. Polton in the way there for Port, and they're quite content to bottle up play and put it out of bounds once again.
Well, the Magpies with their defence, they really have a good defensive unit. They are just pushing the ball to the outer side to just soak up time. The Bulldogs, of course, with this wind, should have the dominance of the play, and the ball should spend the majority of the time we've mentioned in that area as where it is now.
Mark Maley said the breeze worth 3 or 4 goals. I think he's right. In the way again, Paul Northeast eludes a tackle, brings it back towards centre wing. Stephen Schwert, the veteran, out they come again. Quick soccer up the ground. Away goes David Brown on that familiar left boot. He's got Filippo out wide. Filippo needs to find a bit of form, works it in front of the body, goes towards the line. With him is Huey Reimers. They both tumble over the line, and David McIvy saw big Huey before. He is a big lad.
He's a big
in the
guy.
room, stripped down.
Yep. What is he height-wise?
195.
Well, what's that? 6'6"?
6'5".
So he's big, and I think he is deceptive too. When you stand next to him, Ken, as a lot of league footballers are, they're very deceptive on how big he is.
What I like about Filippo is prepared to do the unrewarded things. He's prepared to create space for his teammates. Ambrose is playing full forward here today, but Scott Hodges did play in the reserves, got through, and in time will obviously be the key focal point, having been the only player that's kicked 100 goals for a number of years at SNFL level. So Filippo, I think, will have a big role to play for Port Adelaide in the future, particularly with the dying Darren Smith. Like, what a great stalwart he's been for the club.
Peter Jonas in the coach's box. Chris Grant, the Bulldog general manager, behind him. And I think there is some apprehension about this match, because this is a very important one in the psychology of their season, Central District, and Port Adelaide for that matter.
We better not say the dying Darren, we've got to say the fading Darren Smith.
Well, Darren Smith, not often, you're right though, Ken, not often will you see Darren on the interchange bench. He's played well over 300 games, kicked nearly 500 goals, so an important cog, but I think you're right, just the energy level just dying a little bit, if you like.
Yeah, and I think it's very select recruiting.
Ball A's now up towards full forward. Porter reassorting into attack, but it's all the Bulldogs.
He's killing them, this kid.
They did well. Hopwood again finds a teammate who brings it out towards Cotter. Now Cotter a chance at half back. Ashley will pursue him. They go back towards the boundary. So Tala swoops. He's a good youngster too. Handballs back to Scotty Lee. They've both got the same haircut. Must both go to the same barber. Lee under pressure finds Hopwood. Hopwood had nowhere to go, but he has found Sutala out the corner of the eye, and the young man takes the mark at half back. Adam Sutala kicking the ball, just getting a little bit heavier, though thankfully the sun's shining. It did look ominous earlier.
Was Mark Nayley down on the boundary racing for that ball before too, was it?
I reckon you still have it in your blood. I mean, Nails always was a real swooper, wasn't he?
Calf would get him.
Calf, he might do a calf of the hammy, I think it is at his age now. It's 2-1-13 Central's. Daniel Holm works at 10 metres forward. David Brown's been busy early. Now to Obst. Obst looking further afield. The kick was good. Out comes Ambrose. Should mark and does.
You can't beat experience.
Richard Ambrose. They're a good side, Port. When you never ever write them off. I think we've all said that today in the preamble. Never ever can you write Port off.
When we talk about experience, David, this guy had a run with the Sydney Swans.
Yes.
And you watch him on a Thursday night at training. I don't think there's one player in the Port Adelaide squad that works harder in the gym than this fellow.
He's got a good build. He's been drafted by a couple of clubs and didn't play too many games, if any, Richard Ambrose, but he's right on the 50. This will give an indication of the breeze. He leans back. Drop was awkward. It wobbles up towards full forward, and the mark's been taken by Daniel Holm. Home to Casserly, and Central's out of trouble.
Well, that wasn't a good kick, was it? Waite on the 50-metre line. Plays on, feeds it off to Ashley. Closing from 49, he goes towards goals. It's coming back with the breeze, but it lobs short. And Scotty Lee quite content. Well, I'm not sure that he was content. I think he misjudged it in the swirl of the breeze. And in the finish, a point was conceded.
The wind really taking grip of that ball in the last meterage.
Bradley Moller warming up on the boundary line for the Bulldogs. We'll get Mark Nayley on the job down there. Steinborner, with that pace that we've come to enjoy. Lures just dropped the chest mark. Well, I'm not sure how he missed that one. Chambers flicks it out. Lee's the big solid centre half back, punches it forward. It's Hahn, the Iceman, to Brown. A short one. He's 60 out and closing. Goes to the unprotected goal square. It's going to lob there. Ashley will run back, but it'll run across the line. And a point to David Brown.
I've got to say, Ken, early on, I think Port have had most of the play and kicking into a very strong breeze. They'd be pretty happy with this.
There's been 3 long shots for goal as we throw to the boundary line.
Yes, boys, you'll find that Radley Muller will come on. There's going to be changing their rucks off the bench. You'll find Arnold will come, will be the player that will come off.
Good on you there. Nails on the boundary as we see Stephen Schwert's been a busy player early. Finds Chambers. Chambers out of side centre wing. Just forward a half back there. Central's just lost their way in the last few moments. Started very well. There's a long kick up towards centre half forward. Good mark taken. I tell you what, they are good. That's Binky. Brian Binky's very strong overhead. Feeds off to Lees, who's a rugged, tough customer. Carter had to go, did so. Heard the footsteps coming, didn't stop 1 inch there, did Stephen Carter. He's rough and tough.
I think on reflection of your comment, David, I think the Magpies didn't start as well as the Bulldogs. I think they were really good out of the blocks, the Central District side, but they seem to have arrested it now, the Magpies, and getting right on top.
Comment there by Kenny Sheldons. We see Obst up towards half forward. Arnold had to go, and he did go. Hopwood's been very busy early, content to take it over and out this time, and we'll see a boundary thrown about 50 metres out from the Magpies' goal.
In the other match around town today, it's South by 3 points over West Adelaide at Richmond Oval. Talking about Heath Hopwood from Narrandera, only played 1 league game last year, 10 this year. Really has consolidated to be a tough defender for the Bulldogs this season. He's been a real find.
And today we've seen like 1 beautiful long goal and also some terrific composure. He really does use the ball well balanced, and his delivery is terrific.
Carter on the grandstand wing. It's a high ball into the sun. Very hard for any player to take charge of that one. Filippo did the roving work and drills it towards Brown. I think just caught him out of the eye and held the kick. Ambrose throws it out to Brown. Play on, said the umpire. Ashley and Cotter hard at it. It's a one-on-one contest. Cotter did extra well. Just got the boot of the ball and covered an extra 25 metres.
Yes, perfect defence there from Cotter.
Very well, went to the boundary line. We'll see a lot of that.
Arnold.
Yeah, Arnold off, and they've made a change also. Chalmers on for Port. So Big Jake's having his first rest. We see Daniel Morgan around the body. It's all Centrals there. Hopwood again. Possession number 7, do you mind? Finds McAdam now. He's at centre half backs, trying to draw the play. Set it up beautifully. Away goes Stephen Schwert, the 200-game veteran. Up to half forward now. A match race in 2. A chance for Hicks. He goes to ground. He can't do much with the footy. Binky covered him up well. Throwing it out there was Laws. Could have been penalised. And the umpire, Kevin Chambers, right on the spot. Another fireman, umpire Chambers, and he'll ball up 60 metres out from goal.
Danny Jarks, Ken, spurt seems to be the way of ruckman these days. 10, 15 minutes, give them a run and then get them off. Yeah,
a lot of coaches are employing that tactic, probably as they just nurture the development of their taller players.
Central's lead by 11 points. It's 2-1-13. Port 2 points into the breeze. And they've done most of the attacking in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Up they go again. Lees doing the ruck work. Bit of body there by Scotty Lee. Oh, created the path for Platten. Well done, Scotty Lee. Platten kicks it up towards Big Conway. In the way, Carter again, though. Conway caught out, wasn't his fault. Stephen Carter now works it out even wider. The Pedlar, who started his career as a full forward, that ricocheted off a leg of a Central's opponent and it goes out of bounds.
He looked had a lot of real bright prospects, did Pedlar. As if Key 40 moved well. He one grab and just such a beautiful, long and accurate kick for goal. But as we so often find, they just lose that middle edge there somewhere along the line and they settle in defence. Pedlar now has the opportunity to, well, I guess, resurrect his career.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call, Ken. He lost a lot of confidence, didn't he? Oh, McAdam just got through. There's real quality there when you see a player like that just step through and steady so beautifully from 20 out. Didn't panic at all. There was no mental pressure whatsoever. And McAdam gets his first.
Yes. Having a big influence on the game already, McAdam. And must have had 8 or 9 touches, and none more important than this one at this stage of the game. Midway through, perhaps the latter part of the first quarter, and Port yet to register one, but more importantly, that's the Bulldogs' third.
One of the most exciting players I've seen, Gilbert McAdam. He's come a long way since the mid to late 80s when he started his career. He's gone up to Brisbane, also St Kilda, and now back home with the Central District. Bounce down again, Big Moller. Got the tap down to Platten. Looked for Casserly. Casserly runs onto it. Did well in the end. Just got a little toe poke out towards Cook. Centrals have got 3 on the board already. Back to McAdam. He's dangerous. That's possession number 9. Works it up towards full forward. Hicks second attempt. Oh, rode beautifully. Schwert lines him up and he's offline. Stephen Schwert covering an enormous amount of ground. The Bulldogs 3-2-20. Port at 2 points.
Yeah, Stephen Schwert playing at half back, doing particularly well.
I think he's got a run with roll with Borlase, hasn't he?
I thought Casserly was on him earlier, but they might have made a change.
Might be.
Yeah.
Just we'll keep an eye on that. Ken, if you wouldn't mind, give us an update on that shortly. Oh, there's a finely judged mark to Julian Waite. Feeds it off quickly to Brown. Well, Chalmers was just in the play, and fortuitously the ball fell to him. But very rare that Port Adelaide waste possessions like that.
I was just watching Casserly before, and I reckon he is running with Darryl Borlase, but we'll check that.
Chalmers, front position, northeast, thumps it towards the line again. We've had just on 20 and a half minutes of the first term, and Central 3 goals 2 lead Port Adelaide 2 points, but Port Adelaide are kicking into the teeth of what we would deem a 3 or 4 goal breeze.
I'd say spot on, David, as we wait for the ball to come back in. Moller caught out of position. Casserly again on the left boot, wobbles just inside the attacking 50. Swatala swoops again. We've called that a couple of times, then loses his footing. Picked up here by Daniel Holm. He's got the goals in sight. Works it back towards goal. He's done more than work. It's gone through. That's his first goal. Now a handy lead to Central District. They race away to 4-2. That's 26 points. Port at 2 points, and they have 2 very important goals late in this first quarter.
And it's terrific structure, kicking with this goal, with this 4-goal breeze that the Bulldogs coach Peter Jonas has adopted. He's got Hicks and the big fellow in Conway back in the goal square, and everyone else is across half forward. So we've seen 4 long goals kicked by the Bulldogs.
Good work there, back in the centre now. Moller ran hard. Casserly again. It's almost deja vu. He takes it out of the centre. Over the head of Brian Lees. They're under pressure now, Port. They're under real pressure. Lees straight across the ground. A bouncing ball sliding towards the line. Will it get there? No, it won't. Connor, look at the water spray up there. We had a couple of downpours earlier. Thankfully, the rain has held off. Central's 4-2-26. Port are 2 points. Come out of the blocks early. Then Port steady. Now it's back to the Bulldogs. Up they go again from behind. Borlase. Cotter had to go hard. With him was Morgan. Good competitive work by both players, Cotter and Morgan. And a very muddy Daniel Morgan gets up. Port be looking for the siren. Siren not too far away either. Goal scorers so far for Central's Holm, McAdam, Schwert and Hopwood. This is he Port go towards the boundary line again. Casserly. He's been a busy player. Did well to Scotty Lee. Shrugs a tackle. Sets sail towards centre half forward. Over the head of Schwert. Oh, almost a good mark. Hicks. Has it been paid? I think it has. Well, I don't know whether he had too much of that. I thought it was a mark. Then it spilled out. But the umpire said, good enough. Have a look again. He put it. Oh, yes. Pay that. Almost a one-hander in the end. How'd you see that, Kenny?
Well, I probably agree with you in these conditions. Doesn't matter whether you do or don't agree. It's been paid. And the Bulldogs have their opportunity for their 5th goal.
I think sometimes umpires assume they're going to take the mark, don't they, on the chest or just like that. I like Hicks. He's a good footballer. 93 games, 67 career goals. Played most of his football at full-back. Morgan coming off there, we can see. And coming on is Adrian Setre, a premiership player, on I think 1 or 2 occasions for Port.
Now, David, we've questioned Hicks's fitness so far this year. This is not a bad test for him.
We should kick this goal. Good footballers should score from 40 out directly in front. Leans back. What's he done? You can hear the noise. It's home. Another one to Central District. Very important goal before quarter time. They race away to 5-2. That's 32. Port 2 points.
And that should be, even at this early stage, should be a winning break for the Bulldogs. They shouldn't lose the game from here.
Well, it's a big call, Ken, because only a week or so ago we saw the Western Bulldogs come out with 8 goals against the West Coast Eagles and go down by 13 points at the end.
Yeah, and we do remember one game in 1,000 too, don't we? But percentages do suggest that the team that gets a break like this will win the game.
Put him back in his box, Ken, that's it.
30 points the margin, 24 minutes into the first term. The Bulldogs have the breeze, however, and Port Adelaide will get a chance of using it in the second quarter. Radley Moller thumps it down. Carter tried to crash through. Did he have prior opportunity? The umpire said no way, and I'll have a bounce.
I just like the approach there from the Bulldogs. They really are playing with confidence. They've just slammed that ball forward and then gang tackled Carter.
Looks like Morgan too might have a bit of a problem with the arm on the boundary. He did catch a glimpse of him. We'll have more of that with Mark Nayley at quarter time.
And running through, Hahn chips it. It was an ugly kick. I'm not sure who the intended player was, but comes away Hopwood, who's been best in defence for Central. This fellow hasn't been too bad either. Swirt, a long handball over the top to Castley, who has made an impact already in this first quarter. Oh, confidence! Confidence is a wonderful thing, and Hicks marks it right on the 50-metre line.
And should David go back and simply repeat what he just did moments ago, put it straight through the middle. The distance should not worry him with this strong breeze at his back.
Led the club in goal kicking last year, Damien Hicks, and has really struggled so far this year. So much so I was moved to question, particularly at Adelaide Oval just a couple of weeks ago, whether he was fit. He was pulling his kicks. He kicked the last one freely with the breeze. He looks to be just moving beautifully at the moment. So perhaps he's back to full fitness. And the kick is making the distance. Oh, and the accuracy. This fellow, when he plays well, is a big, important part of the Bulldogs.
What a terrific build-up. And if you go back, right back to the other end of the ground where we've seen Wakeland just take all before him. He was the bloke with a strong approach on the footy from defence. He read the ball, which was coming into Port Adelaide's forward line, just read it so well, handballed it brilliantly off to Hopwood, who used it again to Castley and then perfectly into Wakeland. It was a good passage of play.
Let's go down to the boundary, Mark Nayley.
Yeah, plenty of change being made by both camps. And we just saw Danny Morgan come back on again. He had a cut on the elbow, that's all it was. It was the blood rule, and also Coach Williams made a move. He's put Ambrose a centre-half forward, and he's put Philippe back to full forward.
Good lead now to Central District. They've won their last 4 clashes here against Port. The average winning margin around 40 points. Last year was 77. As Port go forward, they need a goal before quarter time. Hopwood, he's been a great player, finds Wakeland, who goes straight across the ground. Out they come. Holm at ground level picks up beautifully. Central's look superior side now. He's on the left boot, didn't look. The only man in their picture now at the moment is Carter. He's got time to amble on it, just chip short to Borlaze, but it was a wide kick. A wild and woolly kick, wasn't good, out of bounds on the full. Things going right for the doggies at the moment. Scotty Lee, you've got to admire him, as you heard David Mackay say, if he's a motor, he'd do 600,000. If he's a truck, he'd get 600,000 K. That's a fair rap. Finds now Borlaze on the left boot. Up towards McAdam. Where's those silky skills? Can't quite take it. McGuinness for a rare touch. Threw it out to Polton. Port a chance on the far side. Caught one high. There's got to be a free kick. And Julian Waite should take it. So Waite on the far side. Just a bit of stop-start football. That breeze, though, Ken, may be stronger than we first thought.
Oh, very difficult for Port Adelaide kicking into the breeze. You can see this ball from McGuinness just stop in the air. Pack and Jess.
Chance now for Port to get it up there. Ken Castley, David Mackay, he's a real terrier.
Yes, he is, isn't he? He goes hard at it all the time. You talk about moments in football. Rick McGowan unable to take his place. Gilbert missed a couple with suspension. They might have been the first choice centreman, you might suspect, for Peter Jonas, but hasn't Castley made an impact when he's got his chance? It'll be very difficult to shift him out. Now, we talk about trucks. This fellow's a sports car. Just goes pretty well, Steinburner.
I'll tell you what, David, you can't half tell you're in the car trade.
No. Lures to Cook, the captain. That's Captain Cook, not the captain of this club. And Binky, front position, thumps it towards the line. That's a Port Adelaide trademark, isn't it? And just inside the line. That was Tommy Carr, and a good crowd enjoying this match. And weather conditions, we thought it was going to rain, but it's starting to clear up, and a big crowd enjoying this match.
Very hard to beat here at Elizabeth Central District, although surprisingly they have lost 2 this year. 2 important games. The Eagles beat them, so too did Norwood. So you see the ball go out of bounds again. Long quarter, 6 goals scored with the breeze all to Central District. 28.5 minutes gone. Castley now. Right next to him is Borlaze. Castley's won that battle. Up goes Pedler. Pedler's second attempt. Conway can't get hold of it. Port now clear through Carter. Up towards half back. The mark's been taken by Polton. Another one emerging youngster. There's his right boot. Up the centre wing. Port taking the long route to goal again. Central's superior side at the moment. David Brown on that left boot. Works it up towards Phillippo. Oh, up high, Wakeland pushed him out. Ashley now a chance. He's at the 50. Port now, an opportunity. It's Morgan with that arm tape. Puts it up high. In fact, the ball's going backwards. The wind's taken that. Borlace and Castley. Off the ground went Lee, then gets cleaned up. Good courage shown by Scotty Lee. This is good football. This is Taylor couldn't pick it up. Crunching it was Carter. Now the tempo certainly lifting. Laws slips out a handball looking for home. He goes to ground, tackling ferocious, and we should see a ball up in the centre of the Elizabeth Oval.
It's been a terrific first quarter for the Bulldogs. Their tackling has been a real feature, but also their setup, their structure, the system of which they've played has been very, very effective. 6 goals they've kicked so far in the quarter, and from my recollection, 4 have come from outside 50.
Yeah, they've been running goals, and I think that's their trademark when they're going well. Swatala off the ground, Platten and Tommy Carr. That's not a bad matchup either, is it? The young and the old. Lures, threads it out from Platten. Now he's inside 50. This will be a test. He'd normally just thread this through beautifully, Platten. This time, just with a little lack of match conditioning, pushes it to the right.
What was great about that, though, was that Tom Carr had the footy, Platten was in pursuit, and he just managed to get the ball free of Carr's possession, and then his own teammate was then able to flick it back to him. But just a great lesson for any youngster there watching. Just never say die attitude, which has made Johnny Platten one of the greatest players of all time.
Must be up around the 350 mark. 112 games for the Bulldogs. I think he played around 240 for Hawthorn. That's a lot of football.
It certainly is a lot.
250
a lot of metres with those little legs, isn't it?
It certainly is, but he's a great campaigner, one of the favourite sons here in Elizabeth. Has Port under pressure again, and the siren sounds during the first quarter. It's been all the Bulldogs. A tremendous game of football, especially for Central District, and at quarter time it's Central's leading 6-3-39, Port at 2 points.
As we start the second quarter at Elizabeth Oval, your commentator, David Wildy.
Thank you, David. Big Jakes gets the first tap home in the way, though. Port have got to use this very strong breeze. They trail by 37 points, but it's Centrals that go forward again through Castley. 10 possessions to quarter time. Here's another chance for the Bulldogs. Lewis, if he can pick it up, shovels it out. Good play by the Dogs. Great tackle on Chambers by Carr. And the umpire, only metres away, wouldn't make a decision except to say, I'm going to ball it up. Perhaps could have been holding the ball. He had a chance, tried to break the tackle. That, for mine, is holding the ball.
Just a perfect tackle. I think the correct decision, but just a perfect tackle there by Tom Carr.
Bounce down now. Centrals have made the play early on in the second term. They have it deep in their forward line. There's the captain, as we heard him at the quarter-time break. Captain Cook, it's Timmy Cook, takes it over the line and out of bounds.
He's a funny young man, Tim Cook. A lot of that interview didn't quite get to where we had to edit parts of it, David, but he's a very funny young man, but very serious about his footy.
I noticed you didn't edit the favourite commentator, and why would you too, as we see Centrals go through home. Pedler in the way. Interesting clash too between Borlace and Castley, both 10 possessions a quarter time. They had identical stats, 7 kicks and 3 handballs. The ball with David Brown. He's also got the long hair, not quite as long as Platten's. Works it back towards centre wing. The Magpies need to get a wriggle on. In the way now, Cotter. Cotter, the handball was good. Gee, they're working the ball beautifully on this occasion. Hopwood again, up towards half forward. Carr dropped what he perhaps should have taken. Steinberger in there. Platten looking from the side. And we're going to see a ball up this time, 45 out from the Dogs' goal.
Might have been able to pick that up on vision. It was just great experience by Platten. Normally he would get to the front and square of that pack, but he stayed inside in the corridor, hoping the ball would flick the inboard. If it had been, the goal face would have been opened right up for him. So tremendous, just using his experience very, very well there, Platten.
Well, they've got some team rules, the Bulldogs, and that is to come down the centre. They don't play wide too often. They generally bring it inboard. Cook, chance, bends it back with a banana kick on the left boot. What's he done with it? I think he's put it through. He likes it. The goal umpire likes it. So the captain gets his first, and Central get their 7th. It's the first goal scored to the right of screen.
7 unanswered goals. All the play in this start of this second quarter has been with the Bulldogs. They took it out of the centre bounce and they just forced it forward. They've held it there and were rewarded in the end with a fine goal, the old banana kick from Tim Cook on the left. But gee, that's just perseverance, isn't it?
Kenya said after they kicked their 5th goal, Centrals shouldn't lose from here, and it's starting to look that way now. 7 with a bit of rain imminent too, so 7 goals, a big lead. Back in the centre, Jakes up against Arnold. Central's confidence now on the crest of a wave, as we see Waite's handball go to no one in particular. Centre on all fours, out towards Polton. Gee, the tackling from Central's has been good. Ashley's kick went about 2 metres up in the end, 2 metres forward, and they converge once again. There'll be a ball up.
Well, just a passage of play there where Centre, Polton and Ashley, you know, 3 players that I've got written down there along with Morgan that really have to lift their rating for the Magpies, and they all just double-handled the ball. Like, they're just not right in it yet.
They need a forward. We saw Scotty Hodges playing in the reserves, pulled up unscathed, did pretty well too, lead towards the boundary line. Hopwood in pursuit. He's one of Central's best today. He's played very well as Heath Hopwood. He's quite content to see the ball over the line out of bounds, and he's had 6 kicks and 3 handballs, 9 possessions, also 3 marks, been a prominent player.
Yes, he has. Jarks, front position, wins the tap. Borlase thumps it further afield. Helm went at it. Steinberner and McGuinness, that's a good battle. We'll watch as that one unfolds. Steinberner's the winner so far in that battle. Julian Wade underneath this one. Now he's just inside the 50-metre square. Forces it long and direct down the throat. It went looking for Ambrose, but at the back of the pack it's Obst, who read it beautifully.
Yes, I tell you, Court, it was just great experience. He just understood where that ball. He washed it off the boot of his teammate and read it just to perfection. And this is a vital kick.
Now, he's not a big goal kicker, David, but we believe he did boot 3 last week.
Yeah, he did.
McGuinness got 6 for Port, and I need more than 1 or 2 from Andrew Obst today.
Well, he's played 56 for the Magpies, 36 goals. You're right, he's probably a player who probably does his best work in defence rather than attack. And this time he misses. That was an important kick. You know, there are times in a match that you just get some momentum running, a goal there, and they say, right, we can pick them back.
I said I believe they've got the best personnel when they're all out on the park, as Central's quite a few players to come back. And now they're just slowly getting into gear. Peter Jonas will be quite pleased.
Rank the squads for us then. If you reckon Central's have got the best, who's second and third?
I like Norwood. Norwood is always around the mark. Port 2 and Sturt, I mean, they've been very consistent, but perhaps not quite the depth as the other clubs. Up towards full forward, Ambrose couldn't take it. Lee on the last line. How often have we seen this? He was going to turn into Polton, as you could see, and then he went back and conceded the point. Smart thing to do. It's Central District leading by 41 points.
You can see her on replay. Lee looks upfield and he sees that his teammates are clearly outnumbered. He only had Cassidy to 3 other Port Adelaide players, so he played the percentage and put it back through for behind. Soak up extra time. The Magpies are kicking with a strong breeze to the left of screen.
I'm amazed, David, how Scotty Lee, who did come from the Hawthorn Footy Club, didn't make it over there. Played, of course, almost 100 games for the Crows, or just under.
86 for the Crows.
So, and he's played such super football for Central District, including winning a couple of best and fairest.
He has won a couple of best and fairest, played a number of state games. Now, what did he play for Hawthorn? 69 reserves games, and I think 1 night game for Hawthorn. When you see him play like this, clearly he's more than good enough to play AFL football.
Ken's probably a better judge than we are. He's coached AFL football, and you've seen Scotty Lee play. Your thoughts?
I think the reflection on his ability is the fact that he did play so many games for the Crows, but I think you've got to take into context also the side that the Hawks had when he was there. Like, it was the best side of probably the decade, that period of time, and they just won premiership after premiership. So 69 reserves games with the Hawthorn Football Club might have even been a far better performance than play, say, 69 senior games, for example, with the Fitzroy Football Club.
Yeah, it's a good call, isn't it? Fair comment. Ken Sheldon, who would know, as Brian Lees has the kick smothered. John Platten just ducked his head and tried to get out of trouble. Carr forces the handball forward, only gathers 5 metres, and Johnny Platten, Ken, give us an assessment on where he's at.
Well, there's no doubt where he's at. He's struggling for fitness. He's just finding his feet. But what you love about Johnny Platten is that he's prepared to do the little things. And you know, he's held the ball in the forward line a number of times. He's operated as good forwards do, a defender when the ball's on the ground. And he's been the real reason that they've kicked a number of their 7 goals.
I ask you about that because we saw him struggle in the first half against Glenelg, the opening game of the season, when he virtually had done no pre-season. He's in much the same condition today, but his second half against Glenelg in that opening round was just fantastic. He ignited the Bulldogs to a win when they looked like they couldn't win.
Well, you've got to remember that Platten has been to the top of the tree. He is one of the finest performers in this Australian rules game. His heart, they may well put beside Farlap when he goes fella. Like, you know, he has a big heart. He really does work hard.
Possession number 4 to Platten, goes up towards full forward in the way of Binky. Very strong overhead is Brian Binky. Works out at Channel 9. He's been a great pickup for the Port Adelaide Footy Club. Goes out even wider. Let's go down to Mark Bailey, boundary side.
Jones been bad. Made down here, fellas, to see McGuinness coming off. Coach Williams not happy with his performance so far, and big Darren Smith, the very experienced Darren Smith, comes on to replace him.
I think that's a good coaching move. The extra height and experience of Darren Smith down in the forward line with this strong breeze could result in goals. It's not working as it is at the moment, the structure, so you've got to try something different.
Steinburner, David, has done the job so far on McGuinness.
Yes, he has. Looking at McGuinness's possessions, only 3. Platten's had 4. And Steinburner is a good footballer. We spoke about that in the first quarter. And McGuinness here, well, not too happy. Kicked 6 goals last week. A week's a long time in football. Only the 3 possessions to Philip McGuinness.
And I think what has to be, well, if the coach, I'm sure now, will probably have a bit of a word to McGuinness and probably release him back in the midfield, in that he can be the player that can get the ball down to Smith. Getting
very dark here at half-time. We're going to speak to the comeback kid in Roger Girdham. Let's hope the rain stays away, because I'm down boundary side. The kick up towards half-back and marked by Steinburner.
Steinburner back from, what did he have, a broken arm, fellas? Wouldn't have affected his running. He looks pretty fit, and he's got a real turn of speed when he turns it on. Northeast, who just tried for a finger tipper. Stephen Williams just in the grandstand. This is a difficult time, Ken, isn't it? You know that you're out of the game just for the moment, and you're working moves to try and get your side back into it.
Yes, well, they're just not getting enough of it down into their forward line, and when you see shots like Obst, which miss from 20 metres on a slight angle with a strong breeze, they really do hurt you. But you know, in defence of Obst, like, he hasn't had a lot of practice. Like, it's one of 2 or 3 occasions they've had the opportunity to goal. So their midfield really needs to lift their rating.
It's easy to be picky, but they don't have the talent of previous years gone by. They've had some great sides in the last decade, and this one can't compare. They've lost most of them to the power in other clubs. Tommy Carr, he's a promising youngster. He's at half-back. They're trying to set something up. Julian Waite made space. He's got a bit of time now. Works it up towards half-forward. They just need to get on the scoreboard, Port. Good mark by Borlase. Under pressure from McAdam, so Darryl Borlase actually kicked 10 goals once in a game against Sturt at the Adelaide Oval. There's his kick, up towards full forward. Spills out the back, or did it?
Free kick in the back.
Gee, Ambrose not too happy either there.
Yeah, he was caught pushing out. Umpire in a great position to see that in a free kick.
Wakeler now goes out wide. Gee, they've got a player loose in Platt. Can Schwert see him? Stephen Schwert did see him. Puts up the hand like a traffic cop, says, hang on, let's take a bit of time. So Stephen Schwert works it up now towards Arnold. Put out the one hand very casually, nonchalantly pulled in the mark. He can do anything, this kid, on his day. Well, he's not a kid anymore. Brings it back towards centre wing. Northeast after a good start. He's died out of the game. So too a few of his teammates. Picked up by the captain, Cook. Run down by Carr. Somehow held it in. Ran about 25 metres. The umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt. Carter in the way. Strong body work there. Coming out now is Pedler. Gee, Centrals have played it well so far. As is Pedler on this occasion. Eludes a tackle. Gets over the top now to Waite. He's got Borlase loose. Elects to go long. Out comes Darren Smith for his first possible touch. Couldn't quite complete the mark. The ball is slippery. Now Smith, a thinking footballer, up towards full forward. Ambrose in front. Comes to Morgan. He's tackled and tackled well. Slips out now towards Polton. Port still searching for their first goal, and they've missed. 15 metres out. Nothing going right for the Magpies. They've got 5 points on the scoreboard.
Probably describe it, Port are really playing with rough edges. Like, they're just not finishing off their opportunities, whereas the Bulldogs, they are silky here today, kick some great long goals, and you know, that's the difference. Like, possession's probably relatively even.
It's amazing, Ken. I watched them train Port Adelaide on Thursday night. They were just in beautiful fettle. They just took the ball cleanly. They were kicking the ball marvellously. You wouldn't believe it's the same squad just at the moment.
Maybe 3 days is a long time in football.
Well, they just looked a picture. If you were a racehorse, you'd have had your money on them Thursday night. Mark Noley probably has. He likes a bet. And Platten forward. Arnold, there's a free kick to the umpire. And where's it going to? Arnold caught once in the umpire. Well, we missed it, but the umpire was right on the spot. Forward, Lures was held by Lees, and yep, they picked that one up too. So Port Adelaide doing a lot of scragging, and Central are getting the benefit. Lures, a high ball. Hicks was the target. It's going to drop short, however. Ashley read it superbly at half-back, showed great courage.
No instinctive play on, like he had players could have easily switched play into the corridor and then long into attack. Just took his time, It's going to pay off on this occasion, though, as the ball's now at half forward for Port.
Binky works it up towards centre half forward. The will of the wisp in McAdam did beautifully. Now Hop with the long handball. They've got numbers everywhere. Michael Wakeland had time to look. Works it up towards centre wing. Castley, what a marvellous first quarter. He had 10 possessions. Up towards Big Conway. I reckon that might be his first possession. Now to Swatala. Swatala lines him up in goals. Oh, too easy, Central District. Racing away, sprinting away. 8-3-51. 4 to 5 points.
Tremendous interception from Gilbert McAdam. Then good use of the football again by the Bulldogs. Really on song. Great run from defence by Wakeland. Just used the ball so well out to the player. As we mentioned, Castley having a big influence on the game. A great clash he's having with Ball Ace. Both high in possessions for their respective teams. But then what a tremendous handball inboard and just tremendous composure by Swatala. Really did finish off that very well.
As we go down to Mark Nailey on the boundary line.
Jared Portman's come off, fellas, been replaced by McGuinness. He's back on for another run. I think Coach Williams, you're right before. David Wildy, he's had a bit of a stern talking to.
It's just moments where the coach needs to just reset everyone.
You don't want to be critical, but as I said, this Port side, you can't compare to previous teams, and they don't hit the body by hand or foot like previous teams. They've lost a lot of players, a lot of new kids in the... And they're just like one of about 5 or 6 teams now.
I think, though, what Coach Williams would be on about is that whilst that might be the case, and people would argue that perhaps, but they're certainly not playing as well as they should be here today. Like, to have no goals on the board at this stage, 15-minute mark of the second quarter, is not a good performance.
Go one step further, David. Port Adelaide are renowned for their commando style of football. They hit you hard, and we haven't really seen any of that crunching Port Adelaide endeavour.
I don't think any longer they are the most... They used to be by far the most physical team going around. Now, we saw a game last night between Norwood and Sturt. Yes. Those two teams are very physical.
The intimidation factor is just no longer in favour of the Port Adelaide side. Like we've seen the Bulldogs, they've been the aggressors. They've been the ones that have been, if you like, chesting, and they've been displaying all the aggression, but they've also been able to finish it off with good foot disposal.
Carr underneath this one, and marks at right half back. We had the job on Platten earlier. A high ball under at Filippo really made the contest. With him, Darren Smith, and the ball's forced to the line.
Just like to make a comment on that, David. Like any player out there that's played the game knows, if when you're really in there physical, that's one aspect of it. But then when you got the ball and the adrenaline rush, giving that physical onslaught, you've then got to be able to use it. I think Centrals are just now starting to emerge with that experience.
Comments there by Ken Sheldon. It's a locked up ball on the far side, outer side centre wing. 8-3-51 Centrals, Port 5 points. And that's a big margin given the conditions. It looks like the rain has gone again. Didn't actually start to fall, but it did look ominous earlier. Waiting now for big Jakes. David calls him Jakes. Is it Jakes or Jakes, David? Platten up towards home. You say Jakes with a French accent. The French Open is on at the moment.
Jacques Cousteau, you mean?
Well, I thought it was Jakes, but...
they call him the snorkeler. I don't know why. Up
towards half forward now. Centrals have played a super first half. Look at the pace of Chambers. Did he keep it? And yes, he did set the boundary umpire. Brian Least did it. He made it quite obvious he wanted going for the boundary.
Lee Snorkeler.
Muller about to come on doing the big stretches.
You're right, it is Jakes, by the way, DW.
You happy to go with Jakes?
No, Jakes it is, by the way. So Moller comes on, Arnold off. We'll just check that that's a normal ruck change. Mark Nailey's down on the boundary nodding. Thanks for that, Mark. Damien Arnold. So Pedler will do the ruck work. Conway out-bodies him and thumps it down. The umpire said there was a push, so Pedler will take the free. Platten was streaming towards goal. It was fortuitous for Port Adelaide.
Just on Johnny Platten, you know, there'd be a lot of interest in how he's going. Probably had 9 or 10 possessions, been at the bottom of many packs, and I think had a fair influence on the game.
Pedler to Century, kick number 4 for Pedler. Finding a bit of the ball in defence, and he looks pretty comfortable back there. Smith had the ball punched away by Schwert. Now that's an interesting man-up, isn't it? Schwert on D. Smith, Ken.
Yes, well, probably not much else to go for there, like Darren Smith is, 6'4", 6'5". Stephen Schwert, 200 games of experience. In these conditions, it'd be hard-pressed to see Smith take 8 or 10 marks.
Muller and Jakes, there's the man in question, Darren Smith. What a record he's had, 7 premierships. He's also kicked 480 goals. Let's go boundary side, Mark Nailey.
Yeah, Brett Chalmers is coming on very shortly. He'll be replacing Daniel Jakes, who will come off for another rest of the mark. But both ruckmen, as I said before, in the first quarter, they're sticking to that, about the 15-minute mark. They're changing their rucks over. But at ground level here, fellas, Central's just looked too quick over the ground.
I think you're right, Mark. It's 8-3-51. Port Adelaide yet to score their first major. And they're going with a 4-goal breeze halfway through. In fact, we've gone past the halfway mark of the second term. Another change. Jakes is coming off and Mark Bailey spot on. Chalmers about to come on. Loose ball now. Hopwood. It's been a busy player. I've been impressed with him today, Heath Hopwood. Played a lot of reserves football. He's had 10 possessions, 3 marks. A couple of tackles. He's done pretty well too. Chalmers now going up to the forward line.
And just back on that Darren Smith-Stevensworth matchup, perhaps Williams could put Smith right back in the full forward line. That's where you can exploit that type of thing.
Centre now feeds it off to Borlays up towards full forward. Filippo cannot get into the game. From behind is Wakeland. Wakeland tackled by Smith. Good tackle in the end. The Port crowd one holding the ball. Stephen Schwert calls a cucumber. Look for Reamers. Missed the body and it goes out of play.
Yes, out at half back, Schwert, once the ball comes to ground level, will clean up. Using experience well, you can see here, just bang straight to the intention of the player, perhaps, or the boundary line, questionable.
I think we reckon he was going to the boundary line. Borlays to Sentry around the corners, good work. Oh, great courage, Julian Waite. D. Smith held all comers out, but Gilbert bounds away with it. Has time for a bounce, it doesn't come back to him, so it just hit straight to the boundary line. The kick under pressure from Obbs just didn't go anywhere. Obbs, what was that? He was going short to Brown, now Waite. They'll need to work this out. Waite goes forward, Platten works hard for it, tries to flick it out. Stolen away by Obbs, now Borlays. Carr around the corner, D. Smith the only target. 2 hands to that one, he's held. Play on, said the umpire, as Morgan flicks it out to Sentry. Schwert went hard at it, he did well in the defence. Very well. Hopwood playing well, high amongst the Bulldogs' best players. Goes to the far side and lures and Lees in a foot race. Lees takes front position, forces the ball towards the boundary line. Not a bad defensive posture.
They're doing everything right at the moment, Central District. Peter Jonas, no doubt, very happy. You wouldn't credit the scoreline. 8 goals, 3 to Central's. Port yet to register a major. Almost 20 minutes gone, second term. Football Live and exclusive on the ABC. Port really struggle with this ground. They have lost their last 4. It looks like they might make it 5 now as Cook just edges it forward. Carter's tried hard. On the right boot. Works it back towards half forward. The contest in two. Look at Steinberg again with pace. Has time to lift the head. Finds Big Moller.
McGuinness is back on too, and Steinberg has picked him up again, David.
I think that might be a set plan there. Big Radley Moller with a knee bandaged.
I would think even if McGuinness does go on ball, Steinberg would go with him now. That would be the tactic that Coach Peter Jonas would employ. Because once you've got the mental breakthrough on a play, you've really got to put the foot on the neck and just keep pushing down.
A lot of Port players down on Port Northeast still trying very hard. Finds Ambrose. Now in turn to Obbs. Obbs just inside the 50. Out comes Filippo. He was crashed to the ground, but a good mark has been paid. Well, the umpire said play it on. Schwert finds Wakeland. Dribbles it off the boot. Ashley had a look. Didn't pick it up in the end. Out comes Cotty. He's another player that goes hard at the football. Players now converging again, trying to break his way through as Wakeland. He did it well in the end. Now to Big Moller. Bit of scrappy play now as Filippo tried to work it out to Morgan. Morgan crunched. The tackling by Centrals has been good. Got to be a free kick to David Brown, surely. Umpire doesn't pay it. And Steinberg towards the boundary line. Now Port edge their way forward again. Almost a mark taken by Ashley. And let's check the update between West Adelaide and South Adelaide. It's West by 10 points. A close game there at the Richmond Oval. Haven't South Adelaide had a good last month? They won 3 of 4 and certainly very competitive. 8-3-51 Centrals, Port of 5 points. Port, a rare sortie into attack. Oh, McAdam flew like a bird and took a great mark. He's had a day out, Gilbert McAdam. Played some good football. Check his stats. He's had 11 possessions to number 29, a couple of marks. Such a player with so much time. Finds Cook also been busy. Cook with possession number 9 now. He's on the left boot. Light rain starting to fall. Mark Maley won't be too happy with that. Good crowd here at the Elizabeth Oval, considering the conditions, and the ball goes out of bounds.
Always get a good crowd. They always get a good crowd at Elizabeth Oval. 22.25 minutes into the second quarter. Moller in ruck for the Bulldogs. Thumps it down. Good left-handed attempt. Home Flips it out to Cook and releases the runner. A long ball towards Hicks, who's just upended. Good contest by Binky and Hicks. Carter toe pokes it forwards. Fatala sets out after him, but the boundary line beats both players. It's interesting back there, isn't it, Ken? As we look at just a true die-in-the-wool Bulldog fan, you don't get any more parochial than that, do you?
I wonder how many goals I'll have to kick before she gets a smile on her die.
Wouldn't be too happy, I don't think, the coach Stephen Williams at half-time. It's probably an understatement, but they're not playing with their normal poise and skill. And to trail by 46 points, you'd suggest there's no way of getting back. The Centrals with a strong breeze in the third term. Tap down towards Morgan. Everywhere you look, there's 3 or 4 Bulldogs tackling the one black and white jumper. Normally it's the other way around.
Jared Polton preparing to come back on as we go down to Mark Nailey.
Yeah, fellas, Jared Polton just about to come back on also, and the player that really has struggled this afternoon in Samuel Philippou, or Sam Philippou that is, has come off to have a bit of a rest, and I don't think Williams is terribly happy that you've had him kicking a goal at the half-time.
Fair enough too. Contest, one kick, and that's it for Sam Philippou. Well, his big influence is when he attacks the body and intimidates a few people. His work rate is terrific. Today he's just not able to find the ball. And another pack as Matthew Ashley dives on top of it, Ken. That'll be the Bulldogs' modus operandi, I'd suspect, for the second half, just to shut Port Adelaide down.
In the third quarter, though, kicking with the breeze, I think they'd have to go for it and put the game beyond doubt. Like, just keep playing the way they are and then soak the time up in the last quarter.
Ambrose thumps it down, Ops tries to toe poke it forward, but Steinburner just kicked it towards the boundary line and just resets the Bulldog defence again.
The structure of the Bulldogs has been terrific. We've seen in the first quarter when they structured up from these throw-ins and handballed out defensively to the runners in the corridor, finishing off with good goals on more than 2 occasions. It was just a good structure that they're employing here today.
Andrew Ops has been one player that has done well for Port today. They've had a lot of quiet players. Andrew Ops certainly had his share of the ball. 12 possessions to half-time. He's also taken 3 marks. And the only blemish was missing a goal from about 20 metres out early in that second term. Chalmers up against Moller. From behind, big Huey Remus. We spoke about him only moments ago. Obviously again, another possession. Up towards full forward. Smith caught out. Wakeland wasn't. Great to see Michael Wakeland back playing. His brother's doing extremely well at St Kilda. St Kilda on a bit of a roll there in Melbourne, and this occasion the kick wasn't good. And it's going to go back to Obst again, the man we just spoke about.
Both Wakeland boys doing very well at St Kilda. As Obst lobs one towards the 20-metre mark, and it's Chalmers who marks. 20 metres out, just on a slight angle, and you'd suspect from here that Port Adelaide could get their first goal.
David and Ken, I'm just wondering, a bit of trivia, when's the last time Port might have gone into half-time without scoring a goal?
I couldn't answer that, David. You've got us again.
Might check it at half-time.
Okay.
72 grand final, we're told. That was quick.
So Chalmers from 20 out. Well, we won't need to answer the stat because they've got one. Chalmers gets it through. Now, I don't know that Scotty Lee is all that happy with that decision. Chalmers, I think, thought that it might have missed. His reaction wasn't good, and Scotty Lee is furious with the goal umpire.
So another arguable goal umpire decision between these two teams.
Well, the umpire was in the right spot. Chalmers wasn't completely pleased. Goal umpire was quite clear that it was a goal.
I'll tell you what, they've made a few mistakes lately, though. Don't go purely on what a goal umpire says, David.
You're another one of the Mark Nailey type.
Well, the margin back to 40 points. Still a very hefty margin as we draw nearer to half-time. Repeating the news, we're going to speak with Roger Gurdon. As I said, making a comeback out with a leg injury at the moment. Central's going forward. They also want one before half-time. Lures pushed out of it. Big Brian Lee's playing tunnel ball. Swooping now was home. The left-handed handball finds little rat Johnny Platten. He'll win the free kick. Don't the crowd enjoy that? It's got to come back to Platten. And a 25-metre penalty. He won a medal way back in 84. He won a Brownlow in 87. Two-time best in fairness. Have a look at him at work. John Platten did that beautifully. He judged the tackle to perfection, and I almost saw a smile there on Kenny Sheldon's lips.
It's just no substitute for experience, and you just delight in seeing it used to its full advantage.
Well, I said a 25 metre. I think it might be a 50 because Platten, this will be a walk-up start. And they've only taken a minute to answer Port's sole goal. So John Platten, 10 possessions, and he comes. And he's missed. The goal umpire right on the spot. Platts has let us down. Would you believe he's missed from 5 metres out? Central's moved to 8-4, Port 1-5. 28 minutes gone in the second term.
Well, that's why it's such a great game, isn't it? It's an odd-shaped footy, and gee, the unpredictable things they can happen.
I don't think you'll miss those grand final day. And that is a booming kick from Bicky, right inside the centre square, almost to the centre of Central District Oval. Castley gets it out to home. Look at this, Swatala, exciting 20-year-old from Elizabeth Football Club. That's where Schwerty started. Oh, it's bending back. He's got it. The excitement machine gets his second. That is a beautiful goal.
Tremendous rebound there from the Bulldogs. The kick out covered a prodigious distance, but the rebound just so effective. Castley there at ground level just flicked it out to advantage. Holm there summed it all up before him and then used it so well to Swatala. Again, who just summed it up, played on, and look at the balance on this kid. Bang, beautiful.
Great work there by the Dogs, 9-4 to 1-5. Ball up in the centre, Holm comes it through. Ashley try to tap it forward. Absolutely no system in the Magpie. So they go forward.
Siren's gone, and it's a 47-point lead at half-time, Ken, to the Central District Football Club. Stephen Williams and the Port Brain Trust have got a lot of work to do at half-time. 47 points the margin in favour of the Bulldogs. Your commentator, David Wildy.
Thank you, David. Start of the third term. Good bounce. No one could get a decisive tap. Centre went in hard. I reckon Stephen Williams might have given the boys a rocket at half-time. Not often did Port only score the one goal. And they trail by that big margin, 47 points.
It's a big margin, but gee, I've just been impressed by the endeavour of the Bulldogs to tie up the Magpies. Every time they've got a loose ball, they've really just got there in numbers and gang tackled them.
Stephen Schwert's been a busy player, works it up towards half forward. Northeast goes in hard. So too Brian Lee's. Big clash of bodies there. Two number 32s, Paul Northeast and Cotter.
Free kick to Northeast in the back.
Tough. He's tough as nails. Tough as old teak, Paul Northeast. I admire him too. Perhaps could have played AFL, didn't get the opportunity. 6-time premiership player. 6 medals, gee. Not a bad effort. Up towards Big Ambrose. I've got to say too, down at ground level, David, conditions have improved quite considerably. The wind has died and the sun's out. And I think we might see better conditions for the second half.
Yeah, well, the opening term, we saw a strong breeze in favour of the northern end, left of screen at Elizabeth Oval. And the Bulldogs got off to a fly, kicking 6 goals, 3. Port Adelaide only managed 2 points. Hopwood misses that one. It's the only thing he's missed all day. McAdam wrapped up by Chalmers. Well, you just need, Ken, don't you, a lift in intensity by Port Adelaide. They've got to just forge themselves back into this match.
But their confidence isn't there. They've been second handling the ball all day, like fumbling. You just see there, like, should have had that ball, Setre, but just ran off the line of it.
Play on, said the umpire. No, now there's a free kick. It's being held. Now, he was going to let the advantage flow, but it's a Bulldog free kick. So Central were 37 points in front at quarter time, blew that out to 47 points at half time, and they really have just held sway in the whole match.
I've got to say the umpiring's been particularly good today too. We've heard all the dramas in AFL. I've got to say the local league, they can hold their head up high. There's umpire Kevin Chambers officiating. Good guy is Kevin, the Golden Whistle Award winner last year. See Huey Reamers there, couldn't quite take the mark. Platten that ground level, how often do we call that? Little rat with a bit of mud, he'd love those conditions too. Carter diving on top of Johnny Platten. Arnold now thumps it back towards half back. They're under pressure, the Maggies. Picked up by Carr, a player, promising player, Platten. The will of the Wisps, try to kick it up towards full forward. Big Moller. McAdam's made the play. Second, third attempt. It's got to be paid, surely. He's pleading for the mark. Gilbert McAdam can't believe it. And they paid one earlier, Ken. I think it was to, might have been to Damien Hicks.
To Hicks.
And if Hicks was paid, well, I reckon this was a definite mark. 1, 2, 3, then he got hit.
The question is, did it go 10 metres?
Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Don't think it went the required distance. Lewis snaps, goal. Oh! Well, this is interesting now. Port Adelaide needed a goal, but instead Lewis gets an important one for the Bulldogs.
That's brilliant football. I just love to see that. It's a neutral contest. It's set up within striking distance to kick a goal, and they just completely fool the opposition. Lewis is a centre-half forward. You don't expect him to rove that ball, but they practice that. You can bet it on the training track, and they've just taken him to the cleaners there. Third or fourth goal, David, they've kicked from such things like either boundary throw-ins or ball-ups. Their structure really has been good, the way they've executed the ball from those neutral situations.
I think DB hit the nail on the head. Port had to score probably the first 3 or 4 goals, not the first one, but Centrals have replied. It's 10-4 to 1-5. Not often you see that against the Magpies. Jakes goes up. They haven't got their bite around the packs. All the players struggling. Ashley, Brown, Cetre.
Well, the last time we've seen a blowout when Port Adelaide lost was Anzac Day a couple of years ago when Norwood belted them by 122 points.
Might have been last year, I think, about round 5 or 6.
Well, not this Anzac Day, the year before. That's 2 Anzac Days ago. Give me strength.
Well, I thought you said a couple of years ago. Isn't last year?
Okay, good.
I can also remember the Bulldogs belting the Magpies here also in recent, the last 12 months.
It was 80-odd points, wasn't it?
77 points last time they met last year. That's also a belting. If we see Borlays up towards half, well, guess who's in front? It's a Bulldog. It's Wakelin. And Darren Smith not happy with delivery, but into the breeze, you've got to be in front.
Inside and in front of his opponent with that breeze, really reading the ball well, Wakelin. He's been tremendous.
He's a player I reckon could have made it. We know his brothers have made it, but
I reckon he could too.
Hopwood now, yet another possession, finds on this occasion Steinburner. Nathan Steinburner, 3rd or 4th in last year's Magarey medal. He's a good player too. Feeds off to a teammate. Now they go up towards centre wing. Bit of pushing and shoving there. Brian Lees and Simon Lewis. And it comes off hands and out of bounds.
Today, see there the Bulldogs bench.
Just that interview with Roger Girdham, David. Hasn't he been a stalwart for the club? The number 10 jumper. Over 200 games.
Yes, he has. What a difference there'd been. Greg Smith, the previous captain, and Roger Girdham. And there's a classic Ken. You were just pointing it out at ground level. Port Adelaide normally so strong in that area.
Yeah, second, third. You know, they're just not one grabbing the footy, and once that happens, your synergy, just the smoothness, just disappears. Your confidence, your run, the whole lot disappears, and they're in real strife here today, the Magpies.
One thing they've got going, they will get players back that have qualified, like Simon Tregenza, Paul Evans. Scotty Hodges played reserve, so a few players to come back, but they'll need them too. As we see on this occasion, Steinburner again, yet another possession. Leaping high, Chambers flew high above the pack. Well done, young man, and puts it out and over the line.
You can see there on replay, tremendous spoil, defensive spoil. But I think Mark Nailey tipped on it earlier. You know, Port Adelaide, like really, September's when you count them. You know, they've just got to be thereabouts, and as you say, those players do come back and their complete structure changes.
I agree with that, but there are some worrying signs. You've still got to be able to hit the body by hand or foot, and for mine, they've got a few players that perhaps wouldn't have made previous sides.
Well, I've just got for you fellas, Troy Bond to come back, Peter Burgoyne to come back, Brett Higgins has a chance, Paul Evans certainly will come back, Nigel Fegert will, Scotty Hodges may, Mark Clayton can, Trent Orman, Ellen will, Darren McKay will. So they've got some good players to come back.
They want the double chance though, Port. They're currently sitting in second spot, but not for too much longer. As we see Scotty Lee, Brian Lee's worked it out towards a teammate in Morgan. He's got that arm bandage, went off for a while in the first term. Just paddles it up towards centre wing, grandstand side. Out comes Big Huey, took him all on and the ball. And nothing going right for the Magpies.
He's had a better day today, Huey Reimers. Lowered Filippo's colours. Hasn't had a kick, a mark or a handball. He's been a nullifying player today, but to be fair, he's done the job on Filippo, hasn't he? Filippo went off at half-time with one kick.
Yeah, I might say that. I thought Filippo, I'd have persevered with him. Like you could see when he did come off the interchange, the TV was right up on him, and you could see the sweat. The work rate was certainly there of Filippo, just wasn't his day so far. But I think a player like him, you've just got to let him continue to run and work his way into the game.
Morgan and Kyler just have words. Well, I don't know that I'd like to take either of those two fellows on. The umpire sorts it all out, blows time back on and releases the big fellows in the mud. It's Jakes versus Arnold. It was Jakes who won it. The captain, Cook, thumped it back. Carter tries to crash through his claim, fumbled it over the top of it. Polton to the boundary line will have a throw in
David, 2 or 3 years ago, Centrals gave Port a thumping here, and Paul Northeast at the end of the game, I think he might have got reported, he said, "Don't worry, boys, we'll see you in September." And of course, history now shows that Port won the grand final. I tell you what, tempers now getting frayed here too at the Elizabeth Oval. Centrals won't mind. They're big winners at the moment. Chalmers wrapped up.
Gee, I like this kid's game, Hopwood.
Wonderful tackle by Heath Hopwood. Number 45, he's played well. He's had plenty of the footy today too this afternoon. There's Heath Hopwood waiting for the boundary throw in now. Hopwood, 13 possessions. He's very constructive type game today. Workmanlike performance. Chalmers flew, couldn't take it. They're not clean with their movement. Stephen Schwert around the body, that familiar left boot. Up goes Big Jakes. Oh, ran into one of the smaller players in Cook. Polton now feeds out to Northeast. That kicking style wasn't good on that occasion. McAdam courage. Now he caught one for his corner. He's down, almost out. Now, is he putting this on or did he get cleaned up? Let's have a look again.
I think he got cleaned up. Now, he couldn't fault Obst. He was trying to thump the ball away. He's got to go. The umpire's taken.
It's been reported. Well, was it reportable, David?
Well, the tribunal will sort that out. I think Obst will be able to defend his position. He had to go. He had to try and thump the ball away. Now, Gilbert was unlucky for sure and wore it beautifully.
Let's have a look here. Now we can see Gilbert McAdam in screen. Obst from the side.
He took his arm away.
Well, he did.
You know, when it all counted, Obst had the arm coming away.
Well, that might fire up the Magpies. They need something. Lures, was he legged? Doesn't matter, he's still got possession. Cook under enormous pressure. Found Cotter. Pushed off by Ashley. Gee, they're running hard now. Schwert's there. Look at him. Stephen Schwert, the veteran, lines them up. Had no hope in the end. As he kicked, he was pushed. He's not happy with that. And the traffic cop there and the goal umpire says out of play on the full.
Just couldn't quite see it on replay, but what a brilliant take it was from Schwert. Picked the ball up on a half volley at full flight. Just unable to finish it off though.
One of the fittest players going around, Kim.
Has been all his career, hasn't he? Talk about fitness fanatics. Stephen Schwert certainly has put some hard yards in.
I thought the Crows gave him away at the prime of him being a tagger. I thought with his fitness he would have been just a beautiful run with player in much the same way Terry Wallace has used Jose Romero and Liberatore.
Did he play 20-odd games or for the Crows?
30-something I think I've got him down at. Let me just check that for you.
Lives and eats footy. Really has a big appetite for the game, Schwert.
So now Mark Jones, who played 30-something games with Norwood, had 3 years with Broadview, and started the season in terrific form, prepares to come on as Scotty Lee marks. We might just we'll go down shortly to Mark Nayley, and the change is obviously being made, Mark.
Yeah, as you call it, David, Cotter's come off a bit of a break and Jones got on, but I tell you, at ground level, the Port Adelaide players are getting very frustrated with the way the game is proceeding.
Now, Mark, you can hear the voice. Normally, Port Adelaide very strong in the voice department. We can't really measure that from up here.
Oh, there's nothing out here at all. I mean, the Central District players, at least they're showing some sort of enthusiasm. They're acknowledging good work that's been done by players putting on hard tackles. But honestly, the Port Adelaide players, they're just getting so frustrated. There's, anything they're trying to do is just not working. And honestly, something will happen at midnight. I think there'll be an incident very soon.
I suppose when you are 9 goals down, it's easy to lose your voice. I know you shouldn't, but it is easy to lose it.
It certainly is, but perhaps Jimmy Ginniver is sitting on the interchange.
So you see Obst again, he's tried hard. Full marks, Obst. We've just seen he has been reported. His number was taken for striking Gilbert McAdam. But my first impressions, I didn't think a lot in that.
No, I'm with you. In the AFL, he'll get 2 weeks for that. I don't know that we've got any need for that here. He was clearly going at the ball. When contact was imminent, he was taking the arm away, and I think he'd defend his position pretty well. I'll
say it again, I think the umpiring has been very good. Not too much to complain about today. Central's fans very happy. They lead by 53 points. As we about a third of the way through the third quarter, McAdam out in areas, he tried to swipe it forward. Ball lays that typical quick kick forward. They get it and work it 25 to 30 metres up the ground. Look at Lee with time and space. Now he chips short to Cook. Cook, oh, they're mucking around. This is training stuff. Now to Steinberner. Nathan Steinberner pushed off the ball. There's red, white and blue jumpers everywhere. Stephen Schwert to Castley. Heard that big first quarter. Works it up towards full forward. In the way Ambrose. Got to be a free kick. The advantage might be paid. No, it's coming back.
It's a good mark by Ambrose. Read the ball well there and dropped back into the slot to take a good mark. Castley getting a lot of the ball across half forward and using it pretty well into the 50-metre zone.
Northeast used his body beautifully, and marks opposed to Jones. A couple of tough nuts out there. North East comes in board. Ambrose, the big fellow, now thrust into the ruck. Started the game at full forward. Now having a run on the ball. Scotty Lee, one-handed attempt. He's got Morgan's measure at this stage of the match, no doubt about that. Morgan, the ex-Essendon player, has been in terrific form early in the season.
Yes, but he's left it behind today, David. But he's not on his own.
A few teammates too, Kennett. As we see now the ball up towards centre half forward. Port just need a couple of goals just for a bit of spark, just to do something. They're trying hard, they're competitive, but
I've not seen Port Adelaide this lacklustre. There's just nothing for them, isn't there?
You're right, no spark.
Yeah, there's just not even any aggression. Like normally a side gets a 3 or 4 goal run on, you can count on Port Adelaide really mixing it up and not letting them get too far away.
Well, there hasn't been a dangerous build-up. There's been nothing that looked like it could eventuate in a goal.
It's not menacing, is it?
Yeah, there's just...
The only chances they had were early in the first quarter. They had 2 shots for goal, which they both missed into the breeze. But since then, it's been all Central District 10-4, 64 to 1-5-11. Now, that score hasn't changed for quite a while. Centrals have scored a goal in the third term. And I think by memory, they only scored the third term.
Yeah.
Up they go again. A lot of players, very congested forward line for Port. I'd like to open it up. Scotty Lee in there.
McGuinness, fellas, hasn't found the ball yet.
No, he's had a very quiet day. 3 possessions. Let's check the other game today. West and South. West by 23 points. Obviously, they're going with the breeze as the ball goes up towards Darren Smith. And big Darren Smith has taken the mark. 30 metres out, directly in front. Now, this will test him. The breeze is quite strong. He's a beautiful kick, though. He's kicked almost 500 career goals, 480 to be exact, and spent a lot of time on the bench.
And while this is happening, the Central District, which they've employed all day, the 2 ruckmen changing off the interchange. Moller, number 24, now on screen, going onto the ground, I should say, and the big fellow there in Damien Arnold.
Darren Smith lines him up towards the city, and there's his kick, kicks through the ball, but gee, it's speared off to the right. And the Central District crowd don't mind that. Port 1-6, Central's 10-4. Young lad there, very frustrated, saying, come on, Darren, please kick a goal for us.
A difficult shots they may be, but gee, when you've only got one on the board, you've got to kick them.
Swatala. Now, I like to watch this one, Carr and Swatala. It's a nice balanced matchup. Will show the worth of this young up-and-coming Bulldog. Matthew Ashley off the ground, Morgan working hard. Now his work rate has lifted. He's trying to do just those little 1%ers, and Lee's off the ground, heads towards the boundary line. He's charging through, following the ball down, but there's just not enough of that strong bullocking action.
Lee's played ruck rover in a number of his senior games for the Richmond Football Club. Could do worse than throw him in amongst the hustle and bustle of it right now, the Magpies.
Good play. He's played in a couple of premierships, over 100 games. Hard, closes in, but McAdam equal to the task. Once again with time, he's got great vision, Gilbert McAdam. Hopwood goes straight across the ground. Wakeland prepared to run. Obstin Smith in pursuit, although Darren Smith realised it's a hopeless cause. Now finds Scotty Lee. He won't stop running. Someone's got to pick him up. He's got a choice of Cook or a teammate there, Mark Jones. Jones takes it. Good to see him back from injury. Up towards Platten. Platten went down. The umpire said it was fair. Binky in front of his opponent. Backs himself in. The handball was good to North East, or was it? North East collar too high, says the umpire. And listen to the crowd. Paul North East, he's got collared a couple of times today. Normally he doesn't mind dishing out. Oh, that was crude in the end. And I think he earned that free kick. Meanwhile, the ball gets transferred back to Carter. Another player that will not stop running. In turn to Pedler. He's got a chance to bounce and does so. Tapped it once on the ground, then had a regulation bounce. The kick was beautiful. Great execution there, finds Chalmers. Play you always feel should do more, Brett Chalmers. Still only 24 or 25. But, well, you've got to wonder whether he will fulfil that potential. There's his kick, wobbles off the boot. Oh, players had no idea where that was going. And it locked in the arms there of Wakeland.
Well, Chalmers' career almost messed up before it started, like big controversy as to where he was going to play, and he's had all those things to contend with. But, yeah, 24, he's got to have the maturity and nous, intelligence now to work it out and get on with it. Time has come.
I think this is a big year for him, and a lot of people thought when he came back to the Port Power it might be his time, but he's sat the last 3 weeks on the bench. Look at this Bulldog defence. They're hitting the target beautifully. We've mentioned that Port haven't, and the Bulldogs are just finding players by hand or foot and doing it pretty well. Lures front position now. I think might well be that Ambrose has gone to centre-half back, by the way. Called him in the ruck, but I think he might have gone to centre-half back. It's home, forward to Jones. Jones is running. First game back from a knee injury, and it's a high ball into towards Conway at full forward. That's the first mark he's taken, and the crowd like it.
Has he had a kick, Mark Conway?
Well, around the corner he has now. Oh, and I think he might have kicked it too. Touched, said the umpire. They're right on the job then. Justin Schmidt says touched, and a point the result.
First kick to big Mark Conway, and well, I know Peter Jonas is prepared to persevere with him.
I think he should too. He finished 7th in the club best and fairest last year, and looking at the goals kicked, he didn't do a bad job for him either in that department. Played 22 games and kicked 24 goals. He wasn't horrible.
Just struggling at the moment though is big Mark Conway. Beautiful kick, was on the poor power list and didn't quite make it there. Was emergency a couple of occasions. Northeast around the body, up goes Polden. McAdam's everywhere. Rode beautifully by Borley, so the skipper trying hard. He's had quite a bit of the ball this afternoon. Hopwood has also. Now Setre perhaps could have won a free kick. Port under pressure every time they get possession. Chalmers now, that's a better kick into the breeze. In front position, Darren Smith. Just lost it at the critical moment, took the eye off the ball. Working hard now, Hahn. Gee, Wakeland, he's desperate. He's like a terrier too. And Scotty Lee comes in to help his mate wrap him up.
Yeah, the defence of the Bulldogs has been terrific, whether just old-fashioned defending or indeed attacking. They've been special.
19 minutes gone, third term. Very low-scoring quarter. Centrals have added 1 goal, 1. Port a point, and the margin 53 points. So Port only playing for pride now. A bit of respectability on the scoreboard as Platten emerges with a footy. Straight to McAdam. He had X-ray vision. Extra sensory perception as we see Chambers now storm through the centre. The youngster now. Oh, they're all in front. Cook dived at it. Half volley, said the umpire. Got to play it on. Buttering up there was Chambers. Out now towards Lures. He picks it up. Away goes Cook again. Cook lines him up for the Norman, and that's good football. Play of the day. That's his second. And Central's march further ahead.
A brilliant play, set up again from defence. Swirt out to McAdam, they came, they just used the ball, they waited, they used it so well as they brought it into their forward line. But again, that's probably one of the reasons why Conway hasn't had such a big influence on the game. Standing with all his height in the goal square, they're using the breeze well, the Bulldogs. They're kicking goals from a long way out. Of their 11 goals, probably 6 or 7 have come from 50 metres or more. Conway, I agree with Jonas, should persevere with him. He's only taken the 1 mark, the 1 kick, but he did have 1 nice tap out which went to Lures for a fine goal. So just persevere with him, perhaps give him a run in the ruck in the latter part of the game.
11 goals to 1. What a scoreline. You would not have thought that before the match. Borlase goes towards half forward. Chalmers has moved out to that position. Hopwood, who's played a bottler today for the Bulldogs, gets it away to Steinborner, who has support. They're running in numbers, the Bulldogs, and they're just doing it beautifully. Wakeland, a long bomb. Lures got pushed off it by Ambrose. The umpire said it was okay. It was a little shove. Allows play to flow to Matthew Ashley. A high one towards centre-half forward. Who's there? Chalmers too deep. Couldn't get there. Dropping back underneath it. Schwert, with great courage, marks the defender. 8 marks to Schwert, 17 possessions. Hasn't he found the ball today? Talk about Hopwood. Well, Schwert and Lee have been high amongst the best players for the Bulldogs. Platten all wrapped up, but Ambrose got him in a bear hug. And we'll have a bounce. We're 21.5 minutes into the third term. 71 plays 12. Johnny Platten with 14 possessions, just working himself beautifully into this match.
Yeah, no doubt he needs the run. He's second up from a spell, a fairly lengthy spell too, after doing that medial ligament in the knee. Carter now, swapped by Holm. Port still looking for that system, Ken, and there's just no flow to the game.
That's right, they're just double handling the ball too often. It's just not there. The synergy's not there. The belief just not there at the moment for the Magpies.
Football here at the Elizabeth Oval, live and exclusive to the ABC. Borlase once again getting plenty of the ball, but they're not really going to too many people. Chalmers tried to bustle his way through. Schwert tackled at the crucial moment. Hopwood, his confidence growing with every kick and mark and handball. Finds young Chambers. So Chambers, look at him go too. They're working beautifully, the Dogs. He's just offline. Great camera work there. You saw the ball just missed to the left-hand side. Central's 11-6, Chalmers off the ground. Port 1-6.
Again, the Bulldogs able to get the player on the overlap in the space and then use the ball well. Unfortunately, just to the wrong side of the post there, but the method was correct to have the shot from the long distance with this breeze behind them.
Pedler now out wide. Port have gone the long way home, and Big Jake's on all fours, paddles it out towards Ambrose. They're just searching for a bit of clean movement, which they can't find. Obbs back to Ambrose. He's starting to try and run from half back, so at least they're working in that regard. Now in turn to Hahn, up towards Philippo. Oh, good stretch. That's a good grab. That might do his confidence a world of good. Into the breeze, ran back against the traffic. Didn't know who was behind him. In the end, there was no one there, but a good grab. So Philippo, there's his kick up towards Darren Smith. Put out the hands, couldn't win a free kick. Around the body towards goal, bouncing ball. Nothing going right for Port there. Just offline, and that looked like Binky. Port moved to 1-7. Central's 11-6 a margin, 59 points.
Kenny Eustace sitting in the Bulldog crowd. Of course, a former captain coach of the Bulldogs, enjoying his footy. It's great to see Ken back in South Australia.
McGarry medal winner too. When was that, David? Back in the 60s.
Before I was born, mate. Schwert. Inside the defensive 50. A long bomb. Binky did very well in front of Reimers. Binky's playing pretty well. One of Port Adelaide's few better players. Borlase is working hard. Obbs tries to run off him. Well, there's very little movement. You can just see that Port Adelaide normally just grab the ball and run, but today they've been somewhat stilted. Platten thwarted the attack as it went forward. Got the handball out to Casserly and turn. Schwert, isn't he picking up some possessions? A high ball. Jones front position. Lures over the top. Ambrose came 3 deep, and Northeast just crashed his way through with sheer strength. Borlase tried to feed the handball back. Carter forces it to the boundary line. Well, this Magpie machine is in turmoil.
Certainly is. I think that's an understatement, David. 72-13. The scoreboard does tell the story today, and that's exactly how it has unfolded. Big Jakes caught behind Platten. Typical Platten to McAdam. Once again, that perception and vision. Gilbert striding like a thoroughbred. On the right boot, puts it up high. What's he done? He has kicked a goal. Have a look at the excitement there. And pirouettes. Thanks the crowd. Thanks his teammate. And Centrals are on fire.
Well, the magic man, look at this. Can he play the game? Those two fellas there in screen. Just brilliant to watch. But gee, back on Port Adelaide, like really, of their 20 players out here today, perhaps 5 could look their coach in the eye.
I think he should still be playing a level higher, David Mackay.
Yes, I think he could, and you just suspect that he's going to get better. Dry grounds, finals football, come September, and maybe even the first week of October. Gilbert finding some fitness and some form, and I think he's got some passion for the game, as we saw there. Now, we've lampooned Port Adelaide, but let's be fair, Central District have just been outstanding. I think we should perhaps tell the folks how well they've been playing, rather than the other way around. Platten around the corner. Cook, who plays on. Well, his confidence rising as Cook goes long towards goals. Oh, Timmy! What a big one! That's a big one.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? Cook quiet in the first quarter, really erupted in the second, and has continued his good form. But look at this, Platten again in the build-up, and there it is. Cook just takes off and says, well, I'll have a go at this. Beautiful.
Steve Williams wouldn't be happy. I mean, you can lose games, but the way Port are going down here at the moment, this is a machine they're up against, and everything going right for the Bulldogs, nothing right for Port. We've seen 2 great plays there by McAdam and then Tim Cook, 3 goals. And the little Rovers playing extremely well. Casserly cocked high.
Casserly's played very, very well today. Had a good duel with Borlase. 10
possessions in the first quarter now. Is his 19th possession. Just feeds it out. If you run it in this Bulldog lineup, you'll get a possession. Hopwood now to Holm. Holm up towards the forward line. Big Conway. He says, about time I got him the act. That's exactly what he's going to do. Normally a beautiful kick and a chance to bring up his first goal for the afternoon.
Brilliant play by Holm. The left foot disposal was just perfect.
Mark Conway, he is a goal kicker. Game number 60, he's kicked 106 career goals. In he comes, big man, 6'7", starts it out to the right. It's coming back slowly. He's missed though. Central District 13-7, Port 1-7. That's a margin of 12 straight goals.
Port Adelaide should be able to get some respectability back into the scoreboard. They're kicking with perhaps a 4-goal breeze in this last quarter. to the favouring the Bulldogs at the moment. Pedler, he's been reasonable, you've got to say, for the Magpies.
Well, he's held Conway to, what, 2 kicks, fellas, so considering that the Bulldogs have been bombarding their forwards, I know a good mark Waite. Considering that they've been bombarding their forward line, you'd suggest that Pedler's done a pretty reasonable job. The Waite kick looks out in the direction of Binky. Fingertipper couldn't quite take it. We've played just on 27.5 minutes into the final term, only seconds left to 3/4 time, and it's 72 points in favour of the Bulldogs. What a game it's been. Moller front position, pushes the ball forward. Polton goes after it, upended by Jones. Holm off the ground. It was smothered, the kick, and forced back by Setri.
See there, that windsock. Make your own judgment. To me, it's 3 or 4, perhaps even a 5-goal breeze.
I don't think it matters at the moment the way Port with the breeze or into it, they can't score a goal. McAdam again as the siren sounds. Wonderful quarter again by the Bulldogs. They've increased their lead as you would expect with the breeze. Now, is he going to have a shot? He's about, well, 60 metres out. Thought he might have. It's 13-7-85 Central District. Port 1-7-13. So the margin 72 points at 3/4 time.
So stay with us for this final term at Elizabeth Oval. We're live until 5. Your commentators, Ken Sheldon and David Wilby.
Good effort by Central's 13-7-17. When was the last time Port had only kicked 1 goal to 3/4 time? That's one for the trivia buff. Centre puts it up high. We heard Mark Nailey's report about Stephen Williams, not too happy, and why would you be? Stephen Schwert, no doubt figuring high in the best players. That wasn't his best kick. Borlays did well. Fed it off to Richard Ambrose, a left-footer spiral kick, went about 60 metres. Filippo almost landed in his arms and umpires paid it. Well, I thought that came off hands, Ken. Let's have a look at that again if we can.
Filippo, number 4 in screen there, I think is a player that they just got to persevere with.
Oh.
You see there, yeah, but I think just taken high was the umpire's call.
You reckon he paid the free, not the mark?
Yeah.
Okay. So Filippo, who only had the 1 kick to half-time, took a good mark in the 3rd term. And Port need this just for a bit of respectability. Sam Filippo had a stint with Footscray. In he comes, lines him up. That's a beautiful kick. Well done, Sam. And Port finally have goal number 2 on the board. That's a rarity this afternoon. They moved to 2-7, but they trail Centrals 13-7.
Their other goal kicker, Brett Chalmers, is lined up at full-back in this last quarter, but it was Swart's poor kick into the midfield which resulted in the ball coming forward, and I think perhaps a free kick paid there to Filippo by the umpire. A high tackle on him, and then he was able to respond with only their 2nd goal.
There's a rainbow over Elizabeth Oval, and you'd suggest there is a pot of gold for Centrals at the end of that, because today it's been a golden day for the Bulldogs. I think they'll celebrate this one long and hard. Schwert, who's been high amongst their best players, just dribbles one out to Swatala, who really hasn't exploded in this game like some of his teammates. Cashley looked to play on but went back, and now delivers a short one over the top to Cook, who plays on. He looks much better, Tim Cook, when he plays on quickly. He's done that all day today. He's looked quite magnificent. Over the head of Chalmers and Conway. Holm went to ground. Chalmers got him. Loose ball falls. Out comes Carter. Regains possession, but it's stolen away by Holm again. Polton just forces the issue and releases the ball. Now it's Lewis going to Jones. Caught by North East. Jones butters up again. Tries to get it out. Can't do so. Finally Brown. Now off the ground goes Carr, forcing it out to Platten, who can bend it around the corner. The Rat, he lines him up, but he's brought it back just a little too far, Johnny Platten. Well, he's still going, isn't he?
He's got a big engine, no doubt, Johnny Platten, and it's been impressive today. His stats would be 15 to 20 mark, but they've all been, apart from a couple of shots at goal, very, very effective, and as we would expect, at the bottom of the packs, just working himself into form.
Not bad stats. He's kicked 4 points. There's a big kick. Went about 75 metres, almost landed in the centre. Forced forward now by Borlays. His work rate's been outstanding today. And young Steinberner gets back and takes a good mark. Light rain falling. We've been very lucky, though, really, given the weather forecast. We haven't seen too much rain. Kick out towards Hopwood, had to go hard. Pedler did well, backed into the pack. Ashley loses his footing, ends up with McAdam. from Willis. Now there's a high kick from McAdam. Against the tide there. A chance for the big fella Jakes to take the mark. And finally coming through, Polton slides into the concrete barrier.
Now that's the sort of day that Port Adelaide are having. Like Polton, he did terrific there, but then just look at that ball, he just completely missed it. Given it is wet, it has just rained, but their ball handling is just, there's no surety about it today.
Well, as I said, I saw them on Thursday night. They just looked magnificent. You couldn't believe it's the same squad. Polton tackled, goes to ground. Cook got him. Off the ground goes Scotty Lee, forces it forward. First man out is Hicks. He'll need to just go hard at this. Well done, Holm ran off him. Lee's wrapped up. Hicks now northeast. Fighting hard for it was Jones. Hasn't he done well since coming on? Just forcing the issue with each ball that comes in. Lures and Carter go hard at it behind play. A high ball towards Pedler, thumped away by Hopgood. Still playing 4 quarters of football today. And Carr forces it forward. Matthew Ashley, Pedler missed it. Well, I don't know what he was watching, Ken. You might just share that with me. Oh! Well, there's a commitment. Kicking in danger, said the umpire. McAdam allowed to run away with the advantage. Scott Lee, 20 metres clear, looks for a lead, doesn't get one, so he just rocks it up high to the big men. And underneath this one, Conway, well, he just didn't get near that, Conway. Lures, open goal, finish, and it's bang. Right through the middle. Lures gets his second. The Bulldogs, they're second into the breeze. Port Adelaide are mesmerised.
And again, it's Scotty Lee just creating the loose man from defence. McAdam picked him up with his peripheral vision, used him to advantage. Lee had nothing coming at him, so just put the ball to the spot. And the big tall forwards for the Bulldogs brought the ball to the front and square, where Lewis again acting as a rover. 6'3" he may be, but gee, he's been there and crumbed quite a few times today, very effectively, and that one resulted in a good goal.
You'd have to say too, physically, Centrals have won most of the 50-50s today. Tap in hard, he's been a quiet player. Jakes a player down there in the centre. Keep your eye on him. Marked there by Hopwood. He's courageous. He's had to put his own footy today, as Heath Hopwood. Possession number 20. Goes out even wider. Plenty of run there by Tim Cook. And he played the 4 games with the Crows and just can't quite get a chance. They brought up Sujai Cook in front of him, David, so you'd have to say, well, maybe Tim Cook's days at AFL level might be numbered. Ken?
Oh, look, I don't disagree with that, David. I think he's a terrific player. He's a terrific kid, terrific attitude. But, again, has he got just that next level? He's certainly very competent and very good at this level.
His finishing is good. His commitment is good. Just, I think the question mark is perhaps his pace at that level.
Stretcher coming out, David. Now, we might try and pan back to the centre there, and there we have it. Who's gone down? Was it? It looked very awkward too in the centre. He copped a nasty one and doesn't look too good. If we can get a... Can't quite catch a glimpse of his number there. Was it Hopwood that got the ball out? Young fella down there.
Looks more like Brad Willis. Brad Willis, I reckon,
well,
fellas.
He's been on for too long.
No, he's only just come on. Spent the game on the interchange bench. Has just come on. And he's a very courageous player. Comes from up the Clearway. I think he won a medal up there last year. We saw him in the opening game of the year. Really performed. It was terrific. But to be fair, Justin Castley has taken the middle, and that's where Willis would normally play. So they've got an abundance of centremen, the Bulldogs.
Castley's game today, once again, well, I saw him stop Brody Atkinson, which is no mean feat today. Exceptional.
Conditions have suited him, Ken, haven't they?
Oh, yes, they have. But again, Justin's a player, again, one with a big heart and just a real appetite for the game, and worked himself into the centre position. Like, okay, a couple might have had to get injured before he got his spot, but he's not going to give it up. He'll be a good player for a lot of years. Only played a handful of games, 10 or 11. I think got a real future. Been terrific today. Had a good duel with Borlase. You'd perhaps have to say Borlase has had the better of him.
Although I think Castley's possessions have been more important. Borlase, a lot of his kicks are quick kicks forward without really finding anyone.
Borlase is a player that can accumulate possessions without you really picking them up. Like, he's just so, he just accumulates them.
We would have...
Just looking at the young man coming off too, he's got a severe facial cut, so might have copped a knee or a stray leg coming through, maybe even an arm, but
I think that was that nice. Kicking in danger, fellas, wasn't it? That's when the rule was played. And McAdam took it away. There was a kicking in danger. I think he got a boot to the face. So
I'm happy with that assessment.
Yeah, let's hope for his sake he's all right. As Cook goes long, underneath this one lures. Well done, Ambrose. He's battled hard. Now forcing it forward. Just a little toe poke was Chambers on his hammer as Carter. Can he control it? Carter goes towards the line, and Ambrose brings it back in field. Well, I'm not sure what he was trying to do. The ball was all bar out. Obbs, Platten, toe poke forward. Now, well, this might result in a goal. Castley, claimed by Carter. That could be holding the ball. Notes to the umpire. Play on. Carr now towards the boundary line. Polton and Obbs, you'll see, will just force it across.
And there's Cashley again getting possession to cross half forward. I think that's about the best way that you can exploit Daisy Bourlaise. Like his lack of leg speed. He can run all day, but he's certainly not quick. And I think you can get ahead of him there in that situation if you can get possessions at half forward.
Ambrose down to Brown, and Brown, a player that had that bad back injury, hasn't quite reached peak form since coming back, and a bit of a worry there for Brownie. Great competitor, played over 100 games for Port, 67 for the Crows and a few for the Power. He's only had 2 possessions since quarter time, so fairly quiet day for Brown, but then again, so his teammates. We'll see Holm towards goal, and he's kicked it. Oh, he's happy, and so are the Bulldog supporters. Daniel Holm, last year's best in Ferris winner, second goal for the afternoon. Central streeting Port here today at the Elizabeth Oval. Move out to 15 goals, 8. 100 almost up, Port at 2-7-19, so that's a very, very big margin.
He's been there all day, Holm. He's just worked terrifically hard. Been at the bottom of all the packs. His tackles, his smothers, the knock-ons, they've all been good, and that's just good to see him complement his game with a goal.
He's in the state squad. Would he make your starting 18, Ken?
Oh, no doubt.
Central have the bye next week, and not a bad way to go into the bye, is it? Port Adelaide face West Adelaide. Then they front up against Glenelg.
West at Alberton?
West Adelaide at Alberton, correct. Well, isn't that a game for them? That's a test, because if West Adelaide knock them off down there, their season's in absolute disarray.
Hopwood up towards Hicks. Took a couple of good grabs in the first quarter. Hasn't been a dominant player. Swatala left it behind, recovered well. Good skills on that occasion. Bombs it up towards full forward. The umpire says no. The crowd were hoping yes. Just offline. And it's 15-9, 99. Quarter 2-7-19. 80 points. Would you believe the margin? Obviously, you don't believe it.
No, look, it is something that you just couldn't comprehend before this match. The way Port Adelaide were going and the way Central were going. Lures, big mark. Well, he has had a bit of an impact, hasn't he, the big fellow? He's just competed, Ken, for every ball.
Yeah, he's complemented their structure.
Now, a high one in. Conway was the target. He at least made a contest of that one, Conway. Getting some confidence back. That one holding the ball. Castley held it too long, said the umpire.
A correct decision. Bourlaise, they're having a great duel, those two players. I think I give the nod to Bourlaise though in that duel.
Bourlaise has had 19 kicks, 8 handballs, more possessions on the ground than any other player. Make that 20, so he's picked up another one. Off it goes to Northeast. Wait underneath this one. He's not bad overhead, this fellow. He takes a mark, and a pretty clean one. Off it goes to Lees. Now they've missed his aggression, I think, today, to be fair. He's almost had a holiday. Mola forward, McAdam mark. Things are working for the Bulldogs though, like even just the lucky ones they're picking up. Chambers got a good shepherd by Holm, a long ball and a chest mark to Conway. Let's see what he can do with this.
Well, he should try and pass it off, which he has. Look at that.
It's unselfish, wasn't it?
Oh, that's how unchecked was he? Like,
well, it was all set up beautifully. He just ran onto it. The ball sat nicely for him, took a chest mark, and Hicks was unattended. 15 metres out from goal. McAdam comes off. Well, what a great standing ovation he's getting. Number 4 for Hicks. He's kicked 2 goals in the second quarter. Make that 3. But he hasn't had a big day. He has finished, though. Value for touches. 3 goals from 4 kicks.
I think the statisticians will be diving for the record books. Is this the biggest win Centrals have had over Port at the Elizabeth Oval?
87 points, I think, David, is their biggest win ever. We're just getting the Mogridge stats on that.
That's against Port.
Against Port Adelaide. So you'd suspect that this is going to be their biggest ever win against the Magpies.
They're doing it into the breeze too, which is surprising. And Steve Williams, who did want the extra effort at 3/4 time, he hasn't really got it. Brett Chalmers, he's once again sitting down. Darren Smith there and Philip McGuinness. And another game going on at the Richmond Oval between West Adelaide and South Adelaide, and West by 5 points. South Adelaide coming home like the Bondi Tram, and hasn't their month been good?
The last 5 weeks have been pretty good for them, to be fair, David, haven't they?
Only lost the one game. That's to the Eagles up at Noongar, as we see David Brown. And you've got to say, too, a very important game for West Adelaide. They've got to get back on the winners list. Jakes just bounced off a player there. Coming through, Big Moller to Stephen Schwert. Hasn't made a mistake this afternoon. Now they're going in again hard. Swatala thrown off the football. Back to Schwert. He said, thank you very much. Bombs it up towards half forward. Out comes Brian Lees with those big green boots. Hooks it out now towards Morgan. Misses that player. Waite had to go hard. Supported by Polton. Port Adelaide just looking for some momentum. They work it towards half forward. Phillippo used the body well. Could have won a free kick. Reimers picks it up. Everything going for the Bulldogs. They work it back towards Chambers. Should mark and does.
Plays on quickly. Threads it through. Steinburner. Valaga goes forward underneath this one. Northeast dropped it. Lewis recovers, feeds it off to Jones. He's pretty good in this position, Jones. Oh, his finishing is terrific. I think confidence is the thing he needs, and just a little bit of match fitness. But that was a beautiful finish. When all our others have struggled from that position today, Jones just threaded it through beautifully.
Well, you've got to say that Port Adelaide have just stopped. Like the chase from Jarks there on Steinburner, okay, like he just conceded. It was a good quick handball. They burst through the lines, did the Bulldogs, and the same thing happened up here, and Lewis flicked it off to the eventual goal kicker. Like there's just no chase at all from the Magpies. They really have stopped.
17-9 to 2-7, so they've hit the record margin between the two teams, and it's round 11, season 1998 at the Elizabeth Oval. Morgan with an arm bandage works it up towards half forward. I'd like to know the entries into each 50 today. It would suggest that Central's are
45 to the Bulldogs and 26 to Port Adelaide.
It's almost doubled the tally. The Doggies go forward again. Lures, good mark on that occasion. Should be paid, Ambrose. And Richard Ambrose, well, the advantage has been paid, but he did very well on that occasion. Looking at the replay again, caught one for his corner too. Central's, though, they've got the players everywhere. Hopwood, one of their very best. He goes out even wider. Now they're working hard on this occasion to Adam Swatala. Has a bounce. Look at the time they've got, though. Swatala up towards centre wing. Out comes Lures. He's provided the target at centre half forward. Tommy Carr goes to ground, wrapped up by Cook. And what can Stephen Williams and the hierarchy do?
Nothing, not a thing.
It's a cold, bleak day this afternoon.
I think he's just got to go back and forget this match existed. There'll be a hard training session for the boys in the morning. I think you'll almost say nothing and just set them for next week. There's just no positives at all out of this match for Port Adelaide. I think he'll just put it down as one of those games and just try and forget it completely. I think you'll work them hard tomorrow on the track and really work them hard, I'd suggest. And then he'll just settle down and ease them off late in the week and freshen them up, I suspect, for West Adelaide.
The reserves had a good win. He's obviously got to change his personnel and to some degree.
Scotty Hodges in the reserves too.
Well, he's not fit, is he? He's not ready yet, Scotty, but perhaps you go with him just as a player, you know, as a target.
A half-fit Hodges would be probably better than some of the options at the moment, David.
Right.
As
comment David Wildy.
Port go forward, Waite.
We might ask Ken Sheldon, David, just look at his best players, give us his best four for both sides. It might be hard to pick them for Port Adelaide.
Well, it certainly is, but perhaps Borlase, Obst, Binky and Northeast, I would say.
Long ball in and it's Phillippo. Well, he's kicked one, and that's a strong mark and a confidence booster. Gee, 3 kicks, 1 handball and a couple of marks.
Off the ground, though, for a good period of time in the first half. He's a player that I'd persevere with because at least with Sammy, you know that he's given you all.
Yeah, he is. 12 games for the Eagles last year, 25 goals. Pretty big recruit for Port Adelaide. And you suspect that if their midfielders and their half-back line were just bringing it a bit quicker, that he'd perform a little better. It's been coming in very slow and awkwardly today, and he gets his second, Sam. You're right, Ken. He's a kid who will never give up, and he'll come off at the end of each day, giving you everything he's got.
And a difficult thing too, the transition from neighbouring suburbs into the Port Adelaide camp. So I think it's just got to be persevered with, given time. I'll watch that with interest next week, but he's kicked 2 out of 3, and there's one bloke that made $1 million out of saying that ain't bad.
Yeah, fairly big guy too, wasn't he? 17-9 to 3-7. Sam Philippo, well, he's kicked a couple.
And Port Adelaide and West Adelaide is our match of the day next week. So for those Port Adelaide fans who are still with us, you'll get another chance of having a look at your side next week at Alberton Oval when they host West Adelaide.
Well, if West Adelaide do go down today, I think it's their 5th win in succession. So Michael Taylor, Doug Thomas and co, they certainly need a win. Swatala up towards centre-half forward. Northeast desperate lunge at the football.
5th loss in succession.
Works it towards the boundary line. Jones there, kicked that magical goal 5 minutes ago. Had a little clever kick. Swatala pounces. Looks towards goal. Clever snap. Bouncing ball. Goal, I feel. Adam Swatala, that's his 3rd goal. And nothing going wrong for the Doggies. Their supporters very happy. A wry smile from Simon Laws and also Swatala. And Centrals, well, they're making a mockery of this game. It's now 18-9 and Port are 3-7.
Is it just a lesson in this? Like, keep it alive in your forward line, but then understand what's around you in the forward line, and then just have your body over the ball, like your head over the ball when you kick it. Tremendous balance, tremendous execution of the football by Swatala.
92 points the margin. The previous biggest margin between these two clubs was 87 points as Polton from defence. Just a lazy kick wide. Steinberner running with some urgency. Slipped at the crucial stage, gets a shepherd by Scotty Lee. Then lines it up towards centre forward. Lures was the target. The big fella set himself. Made a contest of it. Brings it to ground where Cook feeds it off to Holm. Just has time for a fumble, steadies and goals. Nothing wrong with that. No. Oh! Right on the line, it was touched.
I think the amazing thing today, Ken, given the conditions of the wet ground, the strong breeze, to win by 16 goals, I mean, who would have predicted that?
Well, not too many, that's for sure. But I've thoroughly been impressed by the Bulldogs. Their commitment to the physical contest has been tremendous. Their preparedness to run and protect their teammate, the ball winner. Well, they've run. Blokes have been prepared to run 40 and 50 metres to lay the shepherd, to allow the ball carrier just an easier path with the footy. It's just been a tremendous exhibition of footy by the Bulldogs.
21 possessions to Scotty Lee. This man's played very well in pitch. That's Stephen Schwert finds Platten. What about the experience between those two? He's run down. Might go for holding the ball.
Yes.
Platt stats, 12 kicks, 6 handballs, 18 possessions for a guy who's completely has no match fitness.
And free kick.
Yeah, I think he just sucked a couple in then.
Looks like Brian Binky at the bottom of the pack. And Platten, he's built himself up a bit when he first came on, and just a skinny little kid when he won his first medal back in '84. Now it's Hopwood. Heath Hopwood. Remarkable game. 23 possession, make that 24. Now he's found Wakeland.
He was all ribs, Platten, when he started, wasn't he?
All ribs he was. Did you leave something out there? Goes up towards half forward. Boundary line looms, and Chambers gets thrown over. Not happy with the attention. Darren Smith about to come on.
One thing about Daisy Borlase, he'll just battle it right out to the end.
Very dark here at the Elizabeth Oval. The picture you're seeing at home, it doesn't really tell the story. It's a lot lighter, a lot darker here, believe me. But the rain has kept away for most of the day. Very tired-looking Andrew Ops goes off the ground. He hasn't been the worst Port player. The replay here, Johnny Platten. The jump, half jumper, half hair there. He's not too happy either. Tiny Tim on that occasion. Meanwhile, the ball gets transferred out of the back line by Polton. Straight down the ground he goes. Darren Smith, second attempt, couldn't quite mark. Umpire says free kick. And the veteran will take it in the centre. In fact, it's going to his teammate now, and Binky. Binky transfers it up towards full forward. Out comes Philippo Sport from that player. It's been a classic story, 2-on-1 all afternoon. Darren Smith on all fours, tries to work it out to a teammate. Ends up with Cotter. Cotter now to Remus. Remus has got to go back. The umpire's seen something. And Kevin Chambers saying the player hit high, and an FAD after disposal will go to Remus. Umpiring's been very good. 18-10 Centrals, Port 3-7. Record margin today in very difficult conditions. 23 minutes gone, final term. Footy live and exclusive to ABC Sport. Moller, the Central supporters very happy. The chant going around the ground here now. And good luck to Centrals too. At the end of today, they'll be in second spot just behind Sturt. Sturt suffering a loss last night at the hands of Norton, a very low-scoring game.
23 minutes into the final term, and the Bulldog fans' fine voice, the old central chant, which we haven't heard here for quite some time, really is coming out. They've found their voice again, Ken. The Bulldogs, the Bulldog fans.
They'll just be elated in this performance. It's been one of the truly best that they've put on the deck for many a week, many a year perhaps.
Well, it's been probably one of the most impressive performances I've seen as an all-round team. You'll give us your best players for Central shortly, I know. Brown, spent a lot of time on the bench. There's Setri, a late inclusion for Fabian Francis, who didn't survive a fitness test this morning. And 24 minutes in, a record winning margin for the Bulldogs. There'll be some celebration in the northern suburbs tonight. Well claimed Cook applies a tackle on Bolton, and Platten applies one on Morgan.
Yes, a good work there, Johnny Platten, number 44. He took it back off Jared Cotton. Incidentally, got through the reserves game unscathed. Another player due back shortly. We saw Roger Girdham, he's out for a longer period, 7 or 8 weeks. We see now Lee around the body, up towards half forward, the bouncing ball. They all lose their footing. Out comes Carter. Towards the boundary line he goes and gets dumped unceremoniously there by Tim Cook. Final quarter draws to a close. Wonderful effort here by Centrals. And for mine, they are the front runner for the 1998 Premiership, which would be their first if they happen to win it. Polton at half-back, taken cleverly by Cook. Oh, he kept his balance beautifully around the body, up towards the forward pocket. Jones was manhandled. Hicks is back there. Desperation, that occasion, by the Port defender in Brian Lees, and it goes out of bounds.
Brian Lees, number 5 in screen. But there's Cook, just keeps his balance, keeps the ball in play, and swings it inboard.
Pedler pushes it forward. Off the ground goes Cotter. Now Ambrose claimed by Lewis. Well done, Big Simon. Forces the spill. Conway to Platten. A big bomb towards full forward. Who wants it? Pedler wanted it more than anyone else. Claimed by Holman. The point rushed. No, said the umpire, play on now. Pedler comes back and has another attempt and forces it across the line.
Daniel Holm, what a tremendous tackle. Very, very strong, very aggressive. And that's one of the traits of his game. That's why I, David, would have him in the starting lineup of the state team. I think he really has those physical attributes. He's mentally tough. He's a best and fairest winner. I think he's had a big contribution here today.
Can't agree more, Ken. I always said you're a good coach. There's the kick in. Not a bad one too, with a wet, heavy ball. The pack set themselves. Johnny Platten at the bottom, as he always is. Ball lays a clever thump in the end. Found Matthew Ashley. Tackled there by Lee, but he gets it across to Centre. He's been a quiet player. Up towards Filippo. Out comes the man with the number 1, Drewy. Tackle, took too long. Good tackle, Huey Remus. And he's rewarded for his efforts. Doesn't waste any time at all. Have a look at it again. He went to give first option, perhaps should have. Meanwhile, the play gets transferred to the far side. They've got the numbers again, although Darren Smith, he wants to play his part on that occasion. Schwert in the end takes it over the line and out. Kenny's going to give his 4 best. I would imagine Stephen Schwert would figure pretty highly.
I'd have to give him the 3 votes. I think he's been there all day. In fact, I ended up giving him the 3 at 3/4 time, so he didn't have to do much in the last quarter. But he's continued just to... Well, he hasn't been dominant in this last quarter, but he's certainly been effective. I think the best player on the ground. Hopwood has been magnificent. Started brilliantly and has continued all day. And I thought McAdam, he was the difference when it really mattered early, and left the ground with 25 or 6 possessions halfway in this last quarter.
Schwerdham. And the other match today, West Adelaide and South Adelaide. It's West Adelaide by 12 points. That's late in the final quarter at Richmond Oval. So West Adelaide look like they might get up, and they'll face Port Adelaide in the match of the day next week. Platten juggles one, kicks it towards the boundary line. Safety first. I'm not sure that that's necessary at this stage of the match, but they are protecting a winning record margin.
Looking at the supporters there, you can see a bit of elation, a bit of dejection too from the Port members. It's a long way from Alberton to come here and lose by 94 points. That's exactly what's happened. The red, white and blues are home. Big tap forward goes out of play. Very dark, quite cool now. Rain has held off. And Centrals will move into second position, disposing of Port, who held that claim before today's game.
there was some controversy round 2 when Port Adelaide kicked a disputed goal to take that match by 2 points. So perhaps Centrals might rightly think, as Binky shoots for goal and comprehensively misses and forces it across the face, perhaps the Bulldogs might just think that this squares it up a little bit, Ken, particularly with the percentage boost they'll get from this match.
Yes, I'd agree with that. And it has been it's just been a tremendously strong win, a complete win by the Bulldogs. Giving that one vote, I gave it to McAdam, but realistically and arguably you could give it to any one of probably 15 players.
Central's clearly with the best percentage at the moment. Phillippo has plucked it out of the air, and the big man who's kicked a couple of goals, Sam Phillippo, played in the 1993 grand final win for the Eagles, and that's a good grab in the end. He's put his hand up in the final quarter.
Now even a goal here, David, gives Port Adelaide still their biggest loss. They're 94 points. It'll come down to 88.
Phillippo should kick the goal and does. He's the third. Port Adelaide's fourth, though, scored 75% of their tally. Good to see the supporters still clapping it through, but as we draw to a close in this game, Central's 18-11 and Port are 4-7.
Just forced forward there by Brown out of the pack, and Phillippo just strong, a strong grab.
Well, it's an 88-point margin. 30 minutes into the final term. Central District fans will be delirious. Port Adelaide fans, well, I'm sure they'll be disappointed. Stephen Williams shattered. And they face West Adelaide next week in the match of the day. So seconds left in this match. Jubilation for the Bulldogs. Despair for the Magpies. You rarely see the Magpies battered to pieces like they've been today. Setri claims Chambers off the ground for the Bulldogs. Platt toe pokes one forward. Ambrose feeds it off. Now the Port Adelaide side tried to build, but the pressure is still on from the Bulldogs as North East goes to ground, getting the kick away. It's Cotter. Julian Waite. Cotter did well, comes back into the contest. Jakes forces it forward. Now over the top of it, Morgan just flashes one towards the boundary line, where Hopwood, the second best on the ground, will be quite content to take it across the line.
Only his 11th game of football, David. He's been pretty impressive. Number 45, Heath Hopwood.
Comes from New South Wales, came over last year, played one senior game, didn't kick a goal. It's been a big day for him today. Second best on the ground, and his first league goal, David Wildy.
Chambers up towards half forward. This man's exciting too, Mark Jones. Great to see him back. Missed about 4 games with injury. Now bombs up to Conway. Oh, good hands. Very good hands. He's had a quiet day today, Mark Conway. In fact, he hasn't kicked a goal, and they've kicked 18. He's played full forward all day, but 3 kicks, 4 marks, and let's hope he can seal this with a goal. They're all giving him instructions. Simon Laws there, Johnny Platt in the background. So Mark Conway, normally a very good kick. He'll kick from 45, sets out towards goal. That's a beautiful kick, an unbelievable kick, and he puts his hands up and says, about time. And Central's march further ahead. 19 goals, 11. Have they got time to make it 20? Port of 4-7.
You can see there the kick inboard comes in. That's a good mark. Tremendous mark under a fair bit of pressure. And a fine leg from a long way out. Very happy with it.
We've just been told too, David, if West Adelaide do hold on and win at the Richmond Oval, Port go from 2nd to 6th spot. So that's a fairly big drop.
Yes, it is, and it's certainly on the cards. 32 minutes, but remember, Willis was taken from the ground in a stretcher. This will be a long quarter. We predict perhaps 33 or 4 minutes.
Been impressed by the everlasting tenacity of the Bulldogs. So they're just keeping at it for the total duration of the game.
So Jakes and Moller. Moller wins it. It falls down to Scotty Lee. Another possession for him. Forward to Sean Chambers. Inside the 50. He's looking for a lead. Takes off now. Gets one forward. It's a long bomb underneath this one. The Hicks was the target. Lures was also there. Polton run down by Jones is good desperation. Carr marks just inside the defensive 50 line. Bombs it forward, but it's all over. A record margin for the Bulldogs at home against Port Adelaide. A big day for them. 94 points, the final margin, as Ken Sheldon gives us his best players.
Well, for the losing side, I thought ball ace was terrific, along with Obst and perhaps Benke, Carter and Filippo, perhaps for his 3 out of 4 goals. So that about wraps it up. Whilst for the Bulldogs, I should say, Swert their best, Hopwood and McAdam, along with many, many others.
As we go down to the boundary line, and Mark Naley with Gilbert McAdam.
Thank you, Dave, and a very static Gilbert McAdam. What a day. Did you imagine the start of the day coming to Elizabeth Oval and beating Port by, 19 goals to 4? What a day.
Sensational, like we really thought we owed them one from Whyalla, and the preparation this week, we knew it was going to be pride for pride today, and the way the blokes did it today, and we matched Port with that pride, it goes something about our side for the year.
Well, how about your own form? You've been injured this year, you've come back, you started to find a bit of form today.
Yeah, slowly getting back into it. Obviously I'll go away here and there, but I'm starting to string a couple together, and hopefully I can keep going now, Mark. Yeah.
Well, the build-up to today's game, what was it like? I know you're up against Port Adelaide, you always set yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. You always look for games like the Nords and the Ports and the Bays, I suppose, and you always want to play well in them games, and today was no different.
Well, you've got to buy next week. Just go and enjoy a beer tonight, and we'll see you later in the year.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.